We are Brightside Theater.
Ho, 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 home theater nerds. Welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. The home theater podcast that's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes, and at least I'm not the sight this week.
Yeah.
Nope, I am. I'm going the whole show.
Yeah,
this way.
you're all in.
I got my Santa Coca-Cola going. I got everything. So I'm in the holiday spirit, boys. How about you guys?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah, less than a week to go till the big day.
Yeah. And with that, you know, it was a year ago, the holiday spirit overtook me, and there was a rant in the green room. Maybe one or two today. Who knows? We'll see what happens with the holiday spirit. Let's get the lights on in here, huh? There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
More dark elves than light elves this week, then, is it?
Yeah. Steve, why don't you hit the chat? What's going on in the chat?
Yeah, we've got a fair few already in the chat. We've got Van Gool, who was first in this evening. Hi, Van Gool, who says he's just got Violent Night on 4K in the mail. So Van Gool's got a fun week ahead. So we've got Dom in. Steve Att is in the chat, as we like to say. Paul Hertz here. Hi, Paul.
Good.
Joe Hertzel's here. You got something planned, have you?
No. There was a conversation going on that I said I'd be talking about. Paul's one of the people. I think most of the people are ever in the chat that are like, all right, I can't wait to hear what DJ says about this. Okay.
And we've got Marcus Beebe in the chat. Is that new guy, maybe?
That sounds new to me,
Marcus,
yeah.
If it's your first one. We've got Zach Savage in, Scruffy's in.
Zach.
And a fair few people in. If you are in the chat, by the way, guys, and you're just listening, feel free just to say hi so we know you're there and we can say hi to you. And Johnny Speakers is in. Just drop a hello.
Yeah.
We know you're there. We'll be happy to say hi to you. And listen to anything you might have to say.
Yeah. Oh, hey, there we go. I just put the chat on. There we go. Scruffy, can't wait till Easter and DJ wears a bunny outfit.
Bunny girl outfit.
Yeah, I was just going to say the Playboy bunny outfit or, what are we going for here? John's the only one that got to see that one time.
Yeah. Still recovering.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, there were no iPhones back then.
Yeah.
But I tell you, that puffy tail on the back, though, that was a fun time. So thanks, everybody. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. All that fun stuff. This is our last show together for the year. We will be back after the new year, literally the next day. The 2nd, I believe, is Tuesday. But I got to open this show with an apology to the HT guys. Man, did I drop the ball on that. Ask Jen last night. I was putting together the show, the audio version of our chat that we had. And I'm like, I am such a donkey. So Ara, Braden, I'm sorry, guys. We ended that show. I am such a bad host. I was so excited to have them. I consider them friends now, but I still get overwhelmed. I'm like, this is the HT guys, and they're hanging out with me. And they literally asked for this. So, when the show ended, I was just so excited. I forgot to say Happy New Year. I forgot to let everybody say goodbye or anything. I was just like, yeah, we are out of here. I'm doing my stupid ass thing. And I'm putting the show together last night. And there's audio of Ira going, all right, Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, everybody. And then Braden's like, Merry Christmas. Now go out and watch some HDTV. And I was like, I'm an idiot. I didn't even let him speak. I didn't say it. I was just like, yay, I did another show. High five for me.
To be fair, Deej, you were 3 sheets to the wind with all the bourbon. So,
no, I wasn't. That's the worst part. I wish I was. Oh, I'm just glad I had the audio because if you go and watch the live show, go and watch the ending, and it just, because you guys know, when we end a live stream, we never know when it's going to go out. So we just sit there like, I think we're gone. Okay, are we gone? And that's why I came up with that image so that we can at least just keep our mouths shut. So we don't say anything stupid, which I typically do for 2 hours a week on Tuesdays. So I didn't know when it was going to go out or anything like that, but I wasn't paying attention. And so when you go and watch the live stream, you'll see the actual ending. And then I actually, for audio only, I actually slid the audio around and made it sound more coherent and like it was planned that way. And it's not at all. So, yeah. So anyways, so how was you guys? I was so mad when I saw that last night. I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. But anyway, so how was you guys this week?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. At least my voice is mostly back now, which is good news. The antibiotics did the trick. Yeah, so it's nice. It's not quite normal, but it's not far off, thank goodness. So, yes, I can talk again, as all good lawyers should. Yeah. So it's, it's been a much easier week. And home theatre-wise, I've seen some great stuff this week. So, yeah, really, really good week. Oh yeah,
yeah. We're gonna have some fun this week. We got some experiences that we're gonna have some fun with. I don't think there's one in our list that I can't wait. That I'm disappointed in. I mean, either can't wait to hear what you guys have to say, or I just can't wait to talk about some of this stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking through it right now. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Let's see, what else? Anything else? Anything before we get to experiences and stuff?
No, are we welcoming our, we're doing our Patreon, and do you want to do your Patreon and
yes, thank you to all the patrons. Actually, great point too. This is our week for the Zoom chat, but scheduling the way it's going, I can't. I was gonna try to do it tomorrow night, and then I had to schedule a meeting for about Windows, because you know how exciting that can be. Yeah. So
it's a pain.
You have no idea. Speaking of pains, I'm literally picking panes of glass. Like, this one will meet my rating. Don't get me going. Yeah, it's a pain. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, I got that tomorrow. So I'm thinking we'll do it next week because I'm off, and we'll have a Zoom chat about after the holidays. I think that'll be fun. So, but yeah, thanks to all the patrons. Thanks to everybody for supporting the show. I've been considering, I talked to you guys about it earlier, off air and stuff earlier this year. I might go a little harder on the advertising for our Patreon because I got my reasons, and it has nothing to do with money for me. I just want it for the show. And maybe next year we'll talk more about that. But we'll get through this year first. We got 2 hours to go. So, all right. And so thank you everybody for that. No, you know what happened? And I don't know how to correct it. Joe, thanks for bringing that up. It happened a couple weeks ago. We're not demonetized. I can still get my money, but they took it down because I need to sign. I keep trying to do what they ask me to do. YouTube, they want me to do some advertising stuff, but until I clarify that with them, they shut this down. And I'm like, I keep trying to answer their questions. I don't know what else I can do. And they're like, oh, okay. So, and I honestly don't have time to be like reading all this fine print and jumping through all these hoops. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. I wish I could. And because it's fun when you guys can give us super chats and stuff. But I honestly, I don't know. I got an email. It's nothing. We didn't do anything wrong. It's just, it's the money thing that they need me to do certain things. And I'm like, I even signed up, gave them my bank account so they could pay me. I did the tax stuff. And I'm like, well, what else do I have to do? So I keep checking. So I guess it's not available. So, whatever. For right now, eventually, if I get some time and I can clear it up, you can pay me that way again too. I guess pay us. So sorry about that.
Well, you're advertising Coca-Cola this week, Deej. So I mean, we're doing some advertising.
Right.
So you should be happy.
Exactly. So I honestly I don't know. I can't give a reason why they did it because I don't know. I'm sure they have their very good reasons, but I just don't know what it is. It's like
such cringes.
It was weird. It's like we meet all the other criteria. We have plenty of viewed time hours. We have plenty of followers. We have this, and then all of a sudden, yeah, we're demonetizing you until you clear this up. Okay, I cleared that up. Now what? Well, you got to clear this up. Now that. I'm like, okay, I don't have time to chase you. So, but yeah, thanks for asking, Joe. That explains it as best as I know of. So, all right. We ready? We get into these experiences for this week. Let's see. There we go. Whew. All right. We're into the experiences for the week. And our first up is, it's one we've been debating for quite a few weeks now. I wonder if the debate's changed, if anybody's changed their mind or altered it even a little bit, because I'm still loving Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Oh, and speaking of which, we need to do a better job of that, saying what we're talking about. I think last week, it was my son that called me. Yeah, we were like 10 minutes in. I had to look at the notes to see what you were talking about. It's like, sorry, we get excited. So we're talking Monarch Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV Plus. We're up to episode 6. What do you think of the image, John?
I know. I'm pretty thrilled that it's updated.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Will there be a new one in 2 weeks?
Depends. I can't
or
promise anything.
Is this going to ride us out till number 10?
Exactly. I can't make promises because when I do, I always fail.
Right.
So I'm better with surprises.
And I'm surprised. Color me surprised.
So,
Yeah.
go
Who's
ahead,
going first
boys.
this week then?
Was that?
Go on, John. Who's going
Go
first?
ahead.
I feel like I have
go on.
nothing new to say here because, I've made my feelings pretty clear. Like this episode, I thought was a little better because we got a little Godzilla. But I mean, I haven't changed. I'm still just not really digging. I'm not really digging the Legacy of Monsters. And I just don't want to keep. I mean, I feel like it's just a rehash to just keep saying the same thing over and
Right.
over. But yeah, I'm the same. I don't feel any different. So
Yeah, I think I agree. I think this episode was a bit better. You know, there's more Kurt Russell, so anything with more Kurt in is all good. Right. And you know, the human characters are interesting-ish. But yeah, we got some Godzilla, albeit not very much.
small dose.
Yeah, small dose of the big lizard.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and I'm assuming the idea here is that Godzilla's been there since G-Day, Godzilla 2013. I assume that's what the suggestion is, because if I remember rightly, at the end of that film, spoilers for a movie from 10 years ago, peeps, but at the end of that film, he's quite hurt, isn't he? And he's had a rough time of it, and he kind of wanders off and just leaves at the end when he's feeling pretty poorly. Right. And so the suggestion being he's been sleeping that time. I'm not sure, for a couple of years until this comes along. So yeah, it was okay. It was a bit better, but yeah, I'm agree. It's very average for me so far. Again, I'm not loving it. I don't hate it. I'm not going to step off it just yet. And I imagine if we've got to episode 6 of 10, I think
we're
it is.
in, yeah.
And we're in to finish it off at least. So yeah, but I'm with you, John. It's I've seen it. It's kind of, but put it this way: given on Friday, I had the choice of Reacher, or Reacher episodes 1 and 2, or Monarch Legacy of Monsters, and I was much more excited for Reacher, and was enjoying that way more than this. And I sort of watched this week's episode, a little bit of homework, really. So yeah, it's okay, but not as good as I wanted it to be. And again, like you, I think I'm saying that every week, but there it is. Them's the breaks. What did you think, Deej?
Like you guys, after this week's episode, I like it even more. I'm enjoying, because I'm learning more and more about the story. This week I happened to wait until this morning to watch this episode because I just wanted it fresh. I found like a couple of weeks, like I would watch it right away. Especially remember that one week, it was Thanksgiving. It dropped like Wednesday.
Yeah.
By the time we got to our show on Tuesday, I was like, you guys were talking about it, and I had to be like, okay. Oh yeah, okay. I remember what happened now. Yeah. It's like you forget. So, but I'm enjoying it so much. I put it off until this morning so that I could, have it fresh. But even more so, just the storyline of and the characters are growing. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the character of Godzilla even more. I like what they've done, and so I happened to listen to, you guys know I listen to #Dork, and they were talking Godzilla -1.
-1.
And they had seen it, and I'm probably the antithesis of John. I don't care about spoilers, especially in a Godzilla movie. I'm like, we know what's going on, right? So I listened to their whole show, and Keith and Davey, they loved the movie, and they talked about some stuff, and I don't want to give away any spoilers to either that or this show, but I heard something in there that I was like, wait a minute. So I hit Keith up, and I'm like, if you got a second, give me a call. And he did. He called me later, and I go, I got a question for you. And I told him my theory, and he goes, uh-huh. He goes, that sounds really good. Like very plausible, right? And it's something we've talked about on this show. I'll tell you guys off air later. But I love that what they're doing. It seems to be intertwined. It seems the entire idea of, even from what I'm understanding from -1, it's like all the Godzilla movies are all in the same universe in theory, because they're all Godzilla movies, right? Mm-hmm. Even this new iteration we have here we know what's going on there. These are all sequels to each other. And now we have Monarch, which is using those movies as backdrop for this. So that's where I'm getting the idea that they are all intertwined. And if that's the case, there's information in each of them that's going to be playing going forward that I think is going to be really special for the next movies. And I think what they're developing here is like kind of literally the next MCU, where 20 movies later, we might be like, remember we learned this here? And it's like each movie will be self-contained, of course, but yet but this answers that question there. And I'm finding it. And if it's not, if I'm wrong, well, who cares? I'm having fun just speculating and guessing at it. Right. And to me, that's what this is, just a puzzle piece in this entire thing that had started out with Creature Double Features when I was a little kid, and you're watching Matchbox cars being stomped on by a guy in a rubber suit. It's like, and now all of a sudden we're like, well, the quality isn't this, which is fantastic, right? And it's like, we're talking about it and we're having fun with it. And that to me is what's awesome.
Well, I think if they're building a big interconnected universe around Godzilla, I just hope Godzilla is being nice to his girlfriend. Anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
a little bit of topical humor. Anyway, otherwise, that could cause all kinds of issues moving forward.
Don't want to have to recast Godzilla.
That's the beauty of Godzilla.
Godzuki.
Godzuki.
Right, so,
Yeah.
So Jordan says, he said he's still having a lot of fun watching Monarch. And again, speaking of Godzilla, everyone go watch Godzilla -1. It's incredible. Yeah. I've heard only good things. No one has said bad things about it. So we're looking forward to that. And Paul says only up to episode 3, but the young modern day characters are a bit obvious. Would prefer for it to just stay in the 50s. Yeah, fair enough. Stephen Hatz says the same thing. I think hate the 3 kids. Flashbacks are better parts of the show. So yeah, I don't know. I think the whole thing is of a piece. I don't dislike one character over another. It's the whole kind of thing that doesn't quite set the world on fire for me as yet. But Deej, I live in hope. I'm hoping that you're right, that they're saving the money for something big towards the end, but we're getting to the crunch time of this season. Really, if something big's going to happen, it's
4
gonna
episodes
happen
left
soon. Yeah. and they're only 40 odd or 49 minutes each, so they're going to have to start building something for Godzilla to fight if this is going to happen.
See, that's the thing, is I wouldn't get my hopes up for a big Godzilla fight. There might be a big Godzilla reveal, or there might be, I don't know. I'm just guessing, but that's what happens is when you get your hopes up for something and then it doesn't happen, you might be missing out on what actually did happen, because you're like, I wanted a big fight, but it's so like the story is playing out very gradual. They're telling you we still don't know part of the storyline of where certain things came to be. I'm trying to be as discreet as possible here. But we do know Godzilla is, he is the staple in all of this, right? The cornerstone of the entire thing. And it's like, he's the main Titan, but we're learning about other ones, and we're learning but I think what they're trying to do is that they're trying to give us a world of why they're here, why they're Titans, how it's like their mentality. And it's like, I think it's raising a lot of questions. And, I just, to me, it's just so much fun. It's got me so rejuvenated in the entire Titan universe, the entire monster world here. And I think, how can you not, how can you fault the show for doing it? Be like, it's not, we're talking about, we're having fun.
It's just a question of where they put the emphasis and the focus. I think that's where we have a disagreement in that respect. But in terms of Godzilla -1, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I won't go to the cinema. I'll get the Japanese version when it comes out and import it, because I'm sure it's going to be great at home. But
I tried seeing it, but I tried going to see it, but it's not playing in any of the good theater. Like Wonka's in the good theaters right now, and it's like I don't want to go see that in a subpar theater. And just be like, because I'd rather just wait until I get home and really enjoy it, I'm a little surprised. Jordan, if you go listen to #Dork and they do a whole breakdown of it, you'll really enjoy, especially if you love the movie, you'll really love their analysis of it and what they think. So check that out.
I'm a little surprised that they haven't put it on streaming already. I'd have thought that they'd have that as a premium rental, and would have really pushed that. So I'm a little surprised. I was looking for it a couple of days ago, but it's not available to stream yet. But hopefully, fairly soon it will be.
Yeah, it's hopefully it's new in theaters. So. I'm hoping. It's so funny because we kind of get selfish here, and it's like I want a movie to do well, but at the same time, if it does crappy, we just get it sooner, and it's like then I get to enjoy it at home. Let's see. All right, we could pull that down right now, but VJ, yes. Nope, that's not the one. These things are moving so fast; it's hard to hit it. VJ. Kaleidescape updated the Abyss today and added Atmos. DJ is going to need to watch this again. I think Chris alerted me to that on Twitter today. And I said just that, VJ. I said that exact thing. I said, I'm going to have to go watch it again. No, Carl, they haven't done an Atmos track for the special edition yet. Speaking of which, I told you, Steve, last week when we were talking off air, after the holiday show. Encouraging news regarding that, though. Remember last week I was saying how the special edition is in the extras, so you have to go in, watch the extras. It's an extra in there. So you can't, if you pause it when you come back, you go back into the extras and you don't get to start up where you left off. But Kaleidescape this week, or last week when I was talking to you, they had just released both Avatar and Avatar The Way of Water, the special editions of those, complete with Atmos, the extras, all of that, at an additional price. So they are selling it to you again, just like they were selling the discs out there. So you can have, and I already own both versions of them regularly on Kaleidescape, but now I can buy the special editions. I'm hoping they do the exact same thing with the Abyss, and if I'd be willing to bet it's probably what they're doing. because like, why not? It's like, why just give it all to you right now? Because they're not doing it anywhere else. So I have no problem with that whatsoever. And especially for the Abyss Special Edition, it's definitely worth paying for. So
there's lots of mention in the chat about Wonka as well, saying how good Wonka was, because you mentioned that. Have you guys seen that? Either of you been to see that yet?
No, have not.
Sorry. No, it's interestingly, it was shot. Much of it was shot in Bath, which is about 15 minutes away from where I live. So I plan to go and see it over the holiday thing, and then walk out and then walk through where it was shot afterwards, literally on the way back. So that'll be fun.
Nothing but good things about that as well. So
really, I heard some bad things.
Oh, I've heard all good.
I don't listen to it, but I've heard a couple of bad things, and I was like, really?
I mean,
pretty fun.
That's everything, right? I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's everything. But I've heard mostly positive. Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
It's usually the other way around. I'm the one saying, I've only heard good things. And then you're like, oh, no, get out there. You'll hear it.
Because I tend to fixate on the bad reviews.
That's why I mentioned it. Travis, buddy, you saying the special edition of Abyss does have Atmos. Do you mean like on Kaleidescape? If you go in and I'll have to try. I haven't tried it. I was just assuming.
I think he's unsure, because then the next one's put.
Or is the Atmos track listed only for HD version of it? Yeah. No. The Atmos track is in the 4K version. I got the update. But I got the update. It's the HDR, 4K, HDR. The Abyss got the Atmos track today. I haven't gone in and looked to see if the special edition also got one. I would assume it didn't, because that's just a special edition. And usually the special editions only get, they get 1080p, and 2, they usually just get a 5:1 mix. So I don't know 100%, but I would doubt that it got an Atmos track. I think they would save that for when they release the entire thing as a standalone. So, yeah. So, all right. Next one. Oh, the next one up is another fun one. And we're all in on this one too. Who wants to announce this?
I'll go first this time. We're going to do this one. So this one is Reacher, season 2. Just so we're all clear. There are 3 episodes available, aren't there, guys? Episode 4 is Friday. So I've seen all 3. You guys both up to date?
Yep. All caught up.
Yeah, good stuff. So I'll quickly give my thoughts in terms of the series. Really enjoying it. It's very, very easy to watch in the best way. So you can just watch. I watched 2 episodes back to back. Watched episode 3, really, really enjoyed it, and was ready to just carry straight on to the next one had it been available. I think I could have binged watched pretty much the whole of this season had they released it that way. So it's really, really good, really fun. There is a very, very fun line. Okay, Jordan, I will not ruin it. Jordan says, good. Thank you for putting that in there, Jordan. There is a very, very fun line for movie geeks in episode 1, especially when you see the person that is saying the line, which we won't spoil, but it's fantastic. And when I heard that line, I laughed out loud, thought that was excellent, and immediately tweeted it out and thought DJ's going to love that. I know you and I spoke about it on Friday, and I was right. It's a very, very funny, really clever line. It throws up quite a few questions about when did this get written and who was cast and when, but still, I'm not going to spoil it then, Jordan, because if you haven't seen it and you haven't heard it, I do not want to ruin it. So that was really good. Really enjoying it. Really good story. It's unfolding nicely. It's great. And Alan Richardson. Yeah, Richardson, isn't it? Is just embodies this character. I mean, he's great. And you never think of anything less than, well, that's Jack Reacher. So it's really, really good. Deej and I spoke off air again on Friday about the image quality. It's Amazon Prime, so it's always a little hit and miss.
That says it right there.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just kind of perfunctory. I mean, often I'm watching it and thinking this could just be 1080p. I mean, it's in UHD. It says it's UHD, but actually, there's not a great deal of extra detail. The HDR doesn't add much, and same with the audio. Really, it's in Atmos. It says there. I wouldn't have known it was in Atmos. Really, not from the stuff you're getting. Mm-mm. It's okay. I think this is really about the story rather than the presentation. And what I would say is the presentation doesn't detract from the series. It's not like you're taken out of it because it's doesn't.
Not bad.
No,
it's just nothing to write home about.
Exactly that. But it's really fun as a series. And if you like the first season, you're going to love this one because this is them now with the confidence, knowing that what they had worked, so they can now take that and then move several steps beyond it. It's really, really good. I'm very pleased with it so far. What did you make of it, guys?
What you said. I can't disagree with any. Yeah, I can't disagree with any of it. I completely feel the same way. Good news is, I guess Alan Richardson?
Yeah, I think that's his last name. Yeah, Rich
was he was out promoting somewhere and made the comment that he has no intentions of ever stepping away from this role. This is something that we could see because I've never
refreshing to hear.
Yeah, I've never read the books, but there's apparently it's a fairly long series. The character does age as the books go on, so this could he could just follow this for as long as Amazon wants to keep doing it. And I think that's great because, this is super fun. I had nothing but a good time watching it and can't wait for the next episode. So,
Deej, actually, just Dom's put this one up. Dominic's put this up. Did you have this on Kaleidescape? So he says, does anyone have the 4K disc of the first season of Reacher? Is it good picture and sound? I thought you had it on Kaleidescape.
No, I have Jack Ryan. Season 1
I didn't
and
even know
2
there was a 4K.
I didn't either. I don't know. I don't know. If it's there, I missed it, and I would have grabbed it. I love this show. I have both Reachers. I have both the Tom Cruise Reachers. I love the character. I love, I love Cruise's version of it. I love Richardson's version of it. I said it when the first season came out. I like what they did here with Tom Cruise. They used his size or lack thereof because in the books he's this big. He's this size. He's a big guy in the books. And when Tom Cruise played the part, they use it as you underestimate his size and his fighting ability because of that, right? In this version, they use his size against and you underestimate his intelligence when he's the full package. He can defend himself. He's super smart. It's all of this stuff. I love the show. I love the character. The home theater experience, like Steve said, and like we talked about the other day, is it's nothing to write home about. It's not a show that you're going to be like, that we recommend to watch in your theater because of a great theater experience. We just recommend watching it in the theater because it is just a great experience I love the story, right? But at the same time, take the opportunity because this is what we're talking about when Netflix is directing people on how to, and this is all speculation on our part, right? But why is Netflix so good? And why is Apple TV Plus so good? And it's not just because of the cameras they use or it's how they light things. It's how they shoot the thing. They have this in mind that we're going to be streaming this. And it's just because you put it out in Atmos doesn't mean it's going to be great. It can be flat, and not that this is flat. There's some gunshots and stuff, but it's what they do on their side, how they use that dynamic range in both picture and sound to get something out of you. And they're really, in this case here, they're not trying to. And it's evident. It's in 4K, UHD, or HDR, and Atmos. And it's bleh. And I mean bleh as in it's not bad, but it's not like you're oh my God, it's an Atmos track. You gotta hear this. No, because technically Atmos could be mono. It's just a track, right? And so it helps you to, while you're watching great content, it helps you to appreciate other great content because of how well they execute getting that to you. And that to me is like, what it's kind of about when you get into the experiences part of it.
To answer Dom's question, I've just been looking on Amazon, UK and US. In the US, it's not available on 4K that I can see, not via Amazon. And you think if anyone's going to be doing it, it would be them. But in the UK, it's available on Blu-ray, not 4K. And that's only £18, so it's quite cheap. So Dominic's in France, isn't he? So it may be, Dominic,
Yes.
if there's not a domestic French Blu-ray, you can get it in the UK, unless there is a 4K version in France, in which case we're all going to be ordering pretty quickly, I imagine. But yeah, so Dominic, if you've got a domestic French 4K release, let us know, please. Failing that, it's on Blu-ray in Europe, and you can get that. And in the US, doesn't look like it is, but there we go.
Yeah.
So yeah. Otherwise, I'm sure we'd have all picked it up. Otherwise, because it's such a good series.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Really enjoying it. Looking forward to it this week.
I'm dying, guys, to talk about that line.
I know.
I'm Jordan. I am respecting you, but boy, oh boy, do I want to talk about that line.
Yeah, and I had mentioned the line to you, and I can say it because like you didn't even get it, but I'm not going to say the line. But there's a Jocko Willink line reference in there, and it is dead on. But if you don't know who Jocko Willink is, you're not going to get it. But if you get it, let me know. If you want to know what it is and you're up to episode 3, I'll tell you this: it's in episode 1. And if you missed it, I'll tell you about it. And like Steve, is it not dead on? It's it's exactly what it is, and it's it seems like a throwaway line, but then when you see it, you're like, oh my God, and it's like, yeah, it's really, really cool. It's really cool. So, and there's a bunch of stuff like that in there. So, there's also, they link it to the, Reacher Season 1 4K came out on December 13th.
On
disc or on Kaleidescape? Because I think VJ has a Kaleidescape too.
Oh, might be Kaleidescape.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on Amazon US and I can't see it there at all. I've just typed in Reacher Season 1 4K. And there's nothing on there. And surely, if any organization...
It might be, because wasn't Kaleidescape doing that where you could rent, buy the episode or buy the
I did that with second season of Jack Ryan.
Yeah. So maybe it's on Kaleidescape.
Disc. He hasn't seen it on Kaleidescape. So there you go. But he says it's out December 13th.
Have you had a look at it yet, VJ? Because the reason we're talking about it is Dominic was asking what the picture quality was like. Yeah. So if you've got it and you've seen it, then let us know, and or let us know in the chat, and then Dominic can see. Jordan says, "My apologies, Steve. You're all right, Jordan. It's okay, man. I'm glad you said, because I was about to spoil the line. So I'm very, very glad that you said not to spoil it." There we go.
Yeah, it's fun. It is a fun line.
Either. I see the movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it either.
Oh well,
I mean,
that's
surely,
all right.
Yeah, but we'll keep an eye out for that.
And also, I have a feeling that, not that I'd buy it, absolutely, but I don't feel like I'd get it and then all of a sudden be like, well, now it looks. I haven't really seen anything there that could be enhanced. You know what I mean? Like, it's are the gunshots going to be a little louder? The punches to the head going to be a little louder? Some bones crunching going to be a little louder? I don't know. I mean, how much it's not dynamic in either picture or sound to be enhanced by that much.
It's just nice to own it.
Can't get better, but
yeah.
It's just
nice to have it. Again, it's a cool media thing. We've got it.
Well, and I want to support physical media, of course, but because I want them to keep putting it out for the stuff that is dynamic.
And that way, Deej, if there is a cyber attack tomorrow and we have to retreat to a millionaire's bunker, then you've got the thing to watch. I'm saying nothing. Obviously, I'm not giving anything away about anything else.
Yeah.
But if
one might say you take your physical media and just leave the world behind. And you just hang out in your own little bunker. There you go.
Watch Friends.
So, all right. All right. Let's see. Oh, did we all watch this next one or just John and I?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen this one.
Oh, okay. All right. I can't wait to. John and I have discussed this a little bit, but this is a fun one to get to too. All right.
So
Take
this
it away,
was,
John.
Yeah, this was Family Plan, the Mark Wahlberg action thriller that debuted on Apple TV on Friday.
It's an action comedy, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is Apple TV. So you have your Dolby Atmos, you have your Dolby Vision, 4K. Okay. So I'll start by saying this movie sports every single trope in the book. Like, if it has been done, this movie has it. Saying that, I had a ball. I thought this was super fun. I really enjoyed this movie. You know, Mark Wahlberg is, he's charismatic. You like to watch him, so it doesn't really matter that you've seen all of this before. I mean, this is True Lies. This is every single time a guy has a past that comes back to haunt him, in his new suburban life, this movie does it and touches every bit of that. But it's fun. Like it's just it's funny. It's got good action. It's a good time. Like I really enjoyed it. I disagree a little bit with DJ as far as the home.
I haven't said anything yet. You're giving away my spiel.
Okay, we talked.
I know, I'm just kidding.
We talked. DJ has a different opinion, let's say, than I did. I thought the home theater experience on this was pretty good. It's Apple TV. It's got good Atmos. It looks great, and I thought it was really good. It's not like the best streaming Atmos I've ever seen, but I thought the experience on this was pretty solid. DJ?
So I'll start with that. Yeah. And I agree with you. And that's the thing but I'm coming at it from like you guys with, Monarch. My expectations for Apple TV are that it's exceptional. And we've been saying since Apple TV came out, it's like, it's Apple TV. It's just exceptional. When was the last time they put out something that wasn't exceptional, that wasn't great? And it's good. I mean, there are some scenes that are nice, but it's not Reacher. It's better than that. But this is Apple TV we're talking about.
Right.
And so it's like, but this is the first time that by the end of the movie, I was like, oh yeah, this is Apple TV. I felt like it was closer to a good Amazon. And that's what I said to John earlier. And I was like, there was nothing where like when you watch C or, For All Mankind or even Ted Lasso, people are like text or emailing me like Atmos scenes for Ted Lasso because it's just so good. And that's a comedy, right? This was Family Plan, which is an action comedy. And it really didn't, there wasn't any big, great bass scenes that shook my theater crazy or anything. It's a very good home theater experience. And we just expect a little bit more from Atmos. So that's where I get into the, like Mikey says, that's kind of what I'm saying. But it is, like John said, and like what Mikey's saying here, and AV wasn't anything to write home about, but it was fun. But it was so much fun. Like John said, like we talked about it earlier, and it's like, it's funny. It's silly because you're like, saw that coming. I don't want to give anything away, but I told John
I don't
was
either,
one that didn't get that I didn't see coming, and John's like, "Oh, I saw that one." I go, "Yeah, but they had me," and I was so happy because they did like the an Ole, whatever.
Yeah.
I thought I knew what was coming, and it didn't, and I was like, "Oh wow, they got me good." But by the end of it, you're just like, "That was fun." And actually, I wish I watched this one without Jen, and I wish I hadn't because I was like, she would have had fun with it too.
Yeah.
I was just like, it's another action Mark Wahlberg action movie, and it really wasn't. It was more a comedy.
No, it wasn't.
Fun family movie.
Could be a family plan too. So
absolutely,
be interested to see how it's received. But yeah,
very similar to True Lies story. Right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, it's all those tropes, like you said. It's like everything. Like, but it is fun to see. And it's also got that dad image where kids look at their dad as like, yeah, you're nothing. You're a nerd, Dad. What are you? And then this guy actually turns out to be a, secret agent. It's like, how cool would that be? So, but yeah, it's fun. I had so much fun with it. So.
What's the
Same.
Is it? Now I see it says PG-13 because I nearly watched this the other day with someone quite young, and I thought, well, it might be quite good and that'll be all right. But then I read on
There's the suggestion
is there
of
there an F word?
impropriety.
Is there one F word? There normally is just
remember.
one, but there was a suggestion from the British Board of Film Classification over here that there were multiple F words, in which case it wouldn't have been suitable. One just about can get away with, but more than that would have been a problem.
I don't think you can have more than one and still get PG-13 in this country. Yeah, it's one.
I don't even recall one.
I do
like
recall
I said,
one, and I think I know what Steve's talking about because I remember somebody going, "What the?" And then they get interrupted later, so they don't actually say it. Steve, I would say like he obviously has a little child there in the picture, but he has 2 college-bound kids, and a lot of the information they're exchanging is about college-bound situations, drinking,
so it might be.
college escapades, if you will,
that's what I'm saying.
stuff like
There's-
that. That might not be for under 13 crowd.
Suggestions of a lot of things. You don't see anything, but there's lots of talk
so
about adult
my
themes.
instinct to be wary of it with this person
Probably
then was,
so.
was right.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that's right. I
probably
can
so.
leave it then. That's okay. All right. Good to know. I got subjected to the Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2 instead.
Oh, nice.
Although they're fun. Again, more Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell
Yeah.
always, anything Kurt Russell is good.
Yeah. I started watching that a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh, yeah, I already saw this. So I stopped. went on to something else that I hadn't seen. All right. Here we go. Let's start with you first. This is going to be our
I say, who's you?
James Cameron minute, and it's going to take more than a minute. So, Steve was able to partake in Titanic. So why don't you lead us off with that?
I did. So Titanic came out here on 4K Blu-ray disc yesterday. And fortunately, because I've got some time off this week, I was able to watch the whole thing. So 4K, UHD, Dolby Atmos, a new version of this film. How to describe it? Well, I'll do the AV stuff last, as I normally do. The movie is divisive. I think there's a lot of people that don't like it. I am lucky that, in my view, to be one of the people that actually has always really, really liked this film. I get that it's schmaltzy. I get that it takes all kinds of liberties with the truth, and all kinds of other stuff. But I like it for all of those things.
Well, the ship still sunk.
Right. Well,
Sorry,
indeed,
Eddie.
Yeah, that's it. No, whoops. Yeah, that's it. Giving it away. And so I really like the
People
film.
get wet.
Yeah, well, it's not that kind of film, and it's a really, really good film. Always liked it, and I still like it. And watching it again like this is great. And I've seen it many, 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 many times. I've owned it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 3D Blu-ray, and now in 4K. So yeah, seen it many, many times. Film's just as good. No issues with that at all. So the AV quality. Deej, I think you coined the word a couple of weeks ago, which was stunning. And you are 100% correct. The picture quality on this is a new dawn for how you remaster a nearly 30-year-old movie, because it is absolutely incredible. And anyone that's got time, if you're watching, listening, you're not sure, when you get a minute, pop on over to my Twitter feed. I put some pictures up, which I just snap with my phone straight from the screen, and you will see what I mean when I say it is stunningly good. The detail levels are ridiculous. Every single pore on an actor's face, every little bit of stubble, all the makeup, every wrinkle, every mark and pockmark on their facial features are evident, even in mid-shot to long shot. The costumes now are hypnotizing. I mean, I found myself looking at the little stitching on gloves, the stitching on some of the shoulders, the the shawls and stuff that some of the characters wear. Stuff that, by the way, 30 years ago, nearest damn it, when the costume designers were creating this, can never have anticipated that somebody one day would be able to see it. But you can see the individual fraying threads on some of the characters who are trying to be, well, I mean, surely everyone, I'm not going to give too much away. One of the characters has a name that implies wealth, but is not wealthy. They've lost all their money. They're actually needing to curry favor with aristocracy to keep going. And so their clothing is frayed and worn. And for the first time, you can actually see it. You can actually see that some of this stuff is starting to show its age, which I thought was incredible. It is just awesome. The black levels are fantastic. The detail levels, both in light and dark, look incredible. It is fantastic. And even as I say it, I know I'm not doing it justice. It's better than I'm telling you. So the video is fantastic. The audio is really, really nice. It's not transformative, I would say, perhaps quite as much as the video is, but it's still very, very nice. There is great bass, lots of dialogue I heard that I've never heard before, things being said off camera in the side surrounds and in the back, conversations and dialogue that I'd never heard before, little things being just said, which was really cool to hear for the first time. And in the final hour, when things go wrong, spoiler alert, then the surround speakers come alive, the creaking, the groaning of the hull, it moves right around the room. Some nice overhead placement. At around about the 2-hour mark, one character is chasing two other characters and he's got a gun and he shoots from up on a staircase down into the water, and because he misses them and hits the water and the splash, because by this point the shot is looking down at the water, and as the bullet hits the water, the splash goes up and into the overhead speakers and comes down again, and that's a really cool little effect that would be lost in the mix, but you can hear it distinctly. So it's very, very good indeed. This is one of the discs of the year for me, and this immediately goes up with Lawrence of Arabia, with Spartacus, with Gandhi, with older movies being remastered in 4K that give it an entire new lease of life. This looks like a movie that was shot yesterday, not a movie shot nearly 30 years ago. Right. And again, as I say it, I know I'm not doing it justice. It's awesome. So yeah, very, very pleased with this. And again, I recommend you guys look at my Twitter feed. If you're not sure, if you're on the fence about it, have a look at that and take it from me. That is exactly how it looks. So yeah, very good. Yeah. In other words.
Yeah. And the other part is, like, keep in mind the special effects that were done to make this movie. Because, spoilers, the ship sunk. There's no Titanic. So they had to make it all up. The background is, would you say this is an improvement over the background in Midway?
Yes. Yes, I would. I mean, it does, in fairness, it does reveal some of the tricks that they used, because they did, obviously, they built half the ship. They built it down in Baja, in California. And they built it on the beach so that you could then shoot it and it would look, if you kept the camera low, like they were out to sea. And if you look closely, and I've noticed for the first time, you can see the waves rolling in. If you look closely on a couple of the shots,
windsurfing in the background.
Well, you can see land in the back of one of them as well, and they're supposed to be way out to sea. Yeah, so it's like so it does reveal a few things, but you've got to suspend disbelief. But yeah, the effects generally hold up well, but they should, because lots of it is model work. This wasn't just CG. This was Cameron doing what Cameron does, which is using model work as well as CG to augment it. And so, it still looks great. Are you a fan of the movie, John? Is Titanic your kind of thing or not?
I'm not. Like, I've always been pretty meh on this movie.
Yeah.
I've owned it in every format, though. Like, I keep buying it, even though I don't love it. I've seen it a handful of times. This disc was a maybe for me. Like, maybe when it's $10, I'll pick it up, kind of thing. But all the reviews have sold me. Like, I'm definitely going to buy this, because I've seen, on top of what you're saying, I've just seen nothing but praise for the transfer and for the disc. So I'll pick it up for that. But yeah, I've always been just not super sold on the story and the movie itself, but But I mean, I understand that, the technical achievements of it, and I've always appreciated it. Just don't love it. So
the John, the level of detail when you get to the figure drawing scene. There's a couple people in the chat that haven't seen it before, but when you get to that,
all the detail, the more the better.
I'm talking on the paper though.
I'm
talking on the paper and how he's manipulating the charcoal and then blending with the finger and then doing all. And it was just, I was getting chills watching that, and you could see the texture of the paper like you couldn't before. And I'm sure if I went back to my 4K or my HD or my 3D version, you would see it there. And that's what happens a lot of times is you'll go, well, it is there, but now it's just so prominent that you're like, so obvious. Oh my God. Yeah, it just feels like you could go up to your screen and be like, I'm like, that's paper. And it's like the texture of everything. And then the back and forth between them and their eyes. And like he's looking over like you wouldn't, that's how you do it. But then looking into her eyes, which is a big focal point of the entire movie of going back and forth on her eyes. Right. There's just, I think there's just so much more. And then the guy stuff, right? The opening of the movie underwater and how they shot that's real. That's not special. That's not the Abyss special effects. That's real. Right. And it's so well done and looks so great. Couple that we're going to keep. Go ahead.
Sorry, Dave. The only thing with the drawing, obviously, when the focusing on the hands, it makes it look more obvious now that it's clearly not Leonardo DiCaprio's hands. James Cameron is doing that drawing, and of course they look even older. Yeah. That's Cameron's hands, and he and so the wrinkles on his hands look more precise, more pronounced than ever. So you could tell it's not.
Well, you definitely don't look 25 anymore.
So if you look, you can see the veins and the wrinkles on the hands even more now. It's Cameron doing that drawing. Yeah. That's not DiCaprio.
I feel like I knew that. Is he? Can he draw like that?
He must.
I wonder if he might have just been doing the movements, and you can just say like you do
that's
this.
Possible. It's definitely his hand.
But then Leo could have done that.
True.
If it wasn't actually being drawn, then Leo, there's no reason for Leo not to be there.
Yeah.
Well, unless you shoot that later, and why bring him in just to do this stuff with his
hand? Maybe. You're right. Because I guess it wasn't being drawn live no matter what. So.
Right. No, it's more like, and that's the fun part I like about movie making too, is like when you see a character and like that scene and he's holding, you got the, he's looking over, his easel or whatever you'd want to call it, right? But think of that from the actor's perspective. It's like, okay, we got to shoot this scene. Just look over this easel and you're like, all right, what am I doing here? And then you see it all edited together like, oh my God, that's cool. It's like at the time, can you give me a more seductive look while you're doing this? What the hell are you talking about?
And you're all drawing. Cool.
Yeah. So funny.
But his eyes in that glow. I mean, they've never looked more kind of blue and more kind of that's just bananas. It really is. Just before we move on, just to say hi. I think we've got someone new. Holger says hi everyone. Greetings from Germany.
Hey,
Guten Tag. Yeah,
nice. Welcome.
Welcome. Good man.
Happy holidays, Holger.
Yeah.
Sorry about saying the name like that. That's how I get.
Yeah. Come on.
If you're gonna screw it up bad, then they know you didn't even try. Whoops. Maybe
I told you. I think I've told you before about Titanic as well. A friend of mine, one of my best mates, just has never forgiven Rose for the fact that she's with Jack for one day, and since then she got married, had kids, presumably lived a full life because she's over 100, and yet the person that she goes to eventually is the bloke that she was with for one day, and the poor husband who'd presumably been with her for decades never gets a look in.
Right. Never,
hates this.
Never knew about him. Yeah,
just can't forgive.
It's. Yeah, and I love the debate. He could have got on the board and
on the door. Yeah,
whatever. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
all right.
Very good. Very, very good.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to another James Cameron. I got to watch all of True Lies now, and I can honestly say it's never looked better. But here we go. Yes, the rumors are true. There is some, I wouldn't say wonky stuff going on, but there's some imagery where, like Tom Arnold's face, Jamie Lee Curtis at times, not so much on Schwarzenegger, but it looks like it looks too smooth. And like I texted you guys, I think, what did I watch it like right after, like the Tuesday night, right? Last week.
Yeah.
After we recorded.
Pretty early.
And yeah. And I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, yeah, all right. I see some stuff. And maybe this is what somebody like Chris Deering was talking about. But as I kept watching the movie over, as it played through, I'm like, yeah, I see a couple of issues like that. But overall, it's really, really good because the detail that you're getting elsewhere, and I don't know what it is, because what I said to that's what it was. What I said to you guys, it almost looks like they have too much foundation makeup on in some scenes. And you're like, that's kind of weird. But then there's other scenes where they look, I mean, you can see pores, you can see like their eyes, you can see all the detail that you want to see. And the other part is, now Chris, I believe, Chris Deering saw it on Kaleidescape. So he's seeing, most likely, he's seeing what I'm seeing.
Right.
A lot of people are talking about the stream. And the stream, it's even, I don't want to say worse, but it looks a little bit smoother, or you're getting a little, because there's a variable there. Like the stream can't give you the detail. It's probably losing some of that, but now it's looking even, whatever. What's going on right now? And it's like, I really like it. I like the movie. I like the restoration. The Atmos is really, really good throughout. The explosions, like I said to you last week, it's like you get the bright explosions, but you get the detail and the black shadows of the smoke and everything. The scene when, that they're on the island at the time and Jamie Lee Curtis says, I married Rambo. That scene there, that whole entire action sequence looks fantastic. It sounds fantastic. I wouldn't say it's a reference disc. I'm not putting it on that kind of a level, but if you like the movie and you're having fun with it, it's never looked better because, one, we haven't had this since DVD, and there's just, I'm seeing a lot of, and it plays into this one as well. And I watched all of this too, Aliens. This looks, to me, it looks incredible because, I mean, it's a sci-fi movie. I know this movie. I've seen it many, many times. And now watching it again, and I'm like, oh my God, the details that you're seeing and the shadows and everything, jump scares. I was like, oh, I forgot that. I forgot it came out there. Oh my God. It is so much for the Atmos track. So much fun. This one here is really, really getting me angry listening to the people on social media rip it and say this is bad. And they're putting, I sent you guys an image. I don't want to put images up here, compare images. People are like poo-pooing this thing based off of streaming. And don't do that. Don't listen to that. See it for yourself. It looks great. It has a little bit of exactly what I was saying is in True Lies. Not as much. True Lies has more. I've gone back, watched Titanic again this week. I watched Terminator 2 this week. I watched Aliens, obviously, and True Lies. There's a genuine James Cameron feel, and it's in every single one of them. And for people to be sitting here saying he's screwing it up and then seeing people on social media saying, don't let him touch any more of his movies. I'm like about to drop F-bombs like crazy. Like, seriously, I've seen that sentence multiple times. Are you kidding me? They're his movies. Let him do what the hell he wants to it. And it's like, if he restored these and this is how he wants it to look, this is what it is, people. Enjoy it because this is what he wanted.
Deej, can I ask Aliens on Kaleidescape, then, is it the special edition
Yes.
or theatrical? Special edition.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember to tell
Has
you
it
the
got
truth.
Sentry guns? If it's got Sentry guns, then it's the special edition. And obviously the early bit on LV426, where you find out what happened to Newt's brother and parents.
No,
Right.
regular
So
then.
it's
Yeah, no.
theatrical then. Okay. But it's in Atmos. So
Mm-hmm.
presumably then, and I suspect the same with the Abyss then, the special edition will probably be there, but it's probably an extra feature then, and probably not in Atmos.
I haven't gone that far into this one.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Brown says theatrical. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is one where the special edition is just awesome. I mean, it's like the Abyss. It's kind of the version to see. Okay, that's interesting. All right, it's worth knowing. Because I mean, I can't wait for this on disc, but I want the special edition.
Yeah.
I will not watch the theatrical version. The special edition is so special that I
It
can only
is.
see that.
It is. But I mean, I'm just going off of like the restoration, what's out now, what we have to come. And what I was saying, I've said to a couple of people in the last couple of days, I'm like, the irony is I'm seeing people dissing this, and then people are saying, oh, thank God you told me that, I won't get the disc. But these same people that are dissing it are telling you physical media is the way to go. We need to support physical media, but they're basing all their crap on digital streaming.
Yeah,
And there's so many variables. And it's like the one I showed you about Paul Reiser, I'm like, no, it doesn't that was making the rounds that he looked soft and bad. And I'm like, no, I'm seeing it on my screen and it's not. And then I sent you the image. I'm like, look at the detail here. You can see caking makeup. It's so detailed. And these are sci-fi movies. They're James Cameron movies. This is what they're supposed to look like. This is what he wants them to look like. Right. And I mean, you might not like it. You're allowed to not like it. I'm not saying that, but don't say he did it wrong. It's like, cause it's his. It's like telling somebody they painted their house the wrong color. Sorry. It should be a different color.
Just going back to True Lies a little bit, because with Holger again, our German new listener, viewer. So you said the True Lies Blu-ray from Spain is not too bad. I agree. I've got that version, which is one I reviewed last year, I think it was now, on the show. It isn't bad. It's all right. But again, there are some odd issues with the picture on that. But he says he's can't wait to get it in 4K. I'm the same. I'm looking forward to the disc. I'm not as big a fan of the movie as I was when it came out. When I saw the Spanish version, as I said last year, I thought personally the film had dated not well. I'm looking forward to seeing the 4K though, and I will get the 4K, but with those caveats in place. But yeah, so there we go. But for those that do want to see it in HD before March, and if you don't want to get it streaming, then there is the Spanish Blu-ray, which will be dirt cheap now, because of course that's been the only way to get it for a while. And now there's another version coming. I'm sure that's going to drop in price. But there we go. Huh.
The other thing is, if you like grain, you're not going to like these, because they're like eliminating it like crazy. And people have said that he wants as little grain as possible in his films. Yeah. So, which is fine. That's what he wants. And, but to say it has to have grain or it needs more grain or something, that's really not up to us. That's up to them, the whoever's making it. So,
Well, if the movie looks the way he wants it to look, then you either take it or leave it. If you don't like it, then don't buy it. If you do like it, pick it up and enjoy it. And I mean, that's got to be the way, isn't it? I mean, it's not as though you can blame a mastering studio, a third party that's come in and done it without director's approval. The reason these have taken so long is because Cameron's been over every single frame of these and made sure it is how he wants it to look. I mean, my view is always, as long as he's happy with it, I'll enjoy it for what it is. Otherwise, you might as well start saying, well, I don't like it because I wanted the aliens to have wings, and I don't like it because I wanted them to talk like E.T. That's not the movie that the director set out to make. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Deej. If you get it, see it. If you like it, if you don't, then, let your wait continue.
Yeah. exactly. Chris Brown saying in the chat, he says it was a mistake to release the digital version first. I don't agree with that, because I also think that any conversation is great conversation to get people jazzed up and get people talking, get people like myself fired up, get people talking about it, be like, what's all the hubbub about, right? And people that wasn't even on their radar, it'll get them going. This coming out months from now. So I think it's great. I love to get fired up at the people that they're contradicting themselves. We need to support physical media. And then they trash something so bad, nobody wants to buy the physical media. I'm not saying that they have to like it to promote physical media, but in my opinion, you need to be saying, I watch this digitally. There's a lot of variables. I can't wait to see this. Be positive about getting the physical version. And this is what I saw when I did this, because I also know from my own personal experience, streaming stuff, you can watch it one day and it didn't look good. And then you watch it the next day and go, wow, that scene looks a lot better now. What happened? Who knows, right? This own podcast goes crappy one day and the next day, what changed? Nothing. It's streaming. So for people to be putting out critical opinions, critically viewing something while it's being pumped into their home at whatever rate, it's crazy. And it's like, but I do like that people are getting fired up about it, and it's creating a lot of talk. So, I mean, it is what it is. Let's have fun with it. So, let's see. I'm back to Titanic. Okay. So that was it. I mean, if anybody wants to argue with me, we have a show called Takeover Tuesdays, and you could come on and you could tell me I'm all wrong, and I'll tell you how I don't think so.
Or what was the name of the bar that's just down the road from you, Deej, where you like to set up your arguing stall?
It's not an arguing stool. It's
It's a booth.
Grill on Main.
Oh, yeah.
And and trust me, like I said to you earlier, I've been doing this my whole life. I'll argue about anything. But the good news is, as I've argued about other things. I will not argue with somebody or something that I don't care about. So if I care about something, I'll argue about it. If I care about you, I'll argue about it, right? If I don't care about you, even if I care about that something, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't care about what your opinion is, but if I care about you, I'm going to argue with you. So if I'm arguing with you, I love you, man. John's like, would you stop caring about me?
Stop loving me so much.
Yeah. Whereas when I argue about it, I expect to be paid for it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll send you an invoice afterwards.
Yeah. So, oh man, John, we're gonna get an invoice.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you.
Year end. Yeah.
We're
1099 employees.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, the Evil Dead Rise debate. What did that cost me?
Yeah. 4 shows in a row.
2 hours of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. So, yeah. Hey, that's what this is all about. I want people to be able to come here and you can like what you want, hate what you want, and we all have fun with it. So, all right. Who's got this next one? Is this you, Steve? Steve's raising his hand. Steve, little Steven in the back of the room. He's got his hand up. There we go. All right, here we go, Steve. Take it away.
Okay, so this is the little known, little seen Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 on
the
4K.
holiday classic.
Yes, yeah. Now, I'm sure everybody's already seen this disc. I'm really late to the party on this. I had it on release day, just have not got round to watching it because of the sheer length of the movie and just time. But having had some time off, taking some annual leave that was owed to me, I managed to sit down and watch it last week. This is the second time seeing the film. I watched a screener of it. I didn't see it in the cinema. So second time with the movie and enjoyed it more this time. I was able to follow it a bit more this time. I got a little bit lost here and there with some of the kind of exposition when I first watched it. But seeing it in the cinema room, big screen, Dolby Atmos, I was able to follow it more. And I enjoyed it the first time, but I enjoyed it more second. The AV quality, image quality is very, very nice indeed. It's a Paramount release. It's a new movie. Their movies always look good. And so it looks fantastic. And through large portions of this, it looks almost three-dimensional. The highlight for me being the Rome car chase, which just looks awesome and is a demo scene start to finish. Not just in terms of video, but also in terms of the audio, because I think the audio in that entire sequence, and it's 20-minute sequence, something like that. It feels is absolutely awesome. The squealing of the tires, the revving of the engine, the bass on that massive, great, I don't know what Jeep, I don't know what you call it, truck that Pom Clementif is racing around in. The bass on that is awesome. This thing it sounds like something you wouldn't want to get near. Let alone them racing around in a little electric, yellow car, Jeep Magento, I think, or Fiat 500, something like that. And so I thought that sequence in particular was fantastic home theater. The train sequence is really, really good as well. But as I said, the car chase in particular was very, very good. So this it's a solid disc, a really good movie. I had a great time with it. As I said, I'm late to this. I'm sure everybody else has seen the 4K disc of this. But if you haven't and you're thinking about getting it, then it's a no-brainer. It's really, really good. And it was a movie that didn't do terribly well at the box office in the end. So if we can support it now, I would say we should, because it's a really good movie, and it'll help them to then make Dead Reckoning Part 2 even better whenever we get it, sort of 2026 or whatever it's going to be now. So yeah,
it didn't do well. It didn't do as well as they wanted, but it's not hurting. I don't think
it didn't. Well,
I don't think
flop.
it made its money back.
It wasn't far off. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, I don't think it did.
Yeah, it was a bit. It it certainly didn't do what the others have done. But yeah, I think you might be right, John. I don't remember it being a flop, but I think it was disappointing. Weren't happy.
I don't know what the final numbers were. I don't really keep up with that stuff, but I know
I think it was just overshadowed by Oppenheimer and Barbie afterwards.
Yeah, well, I know the talk at the time was that it wasn't making its money. It wasn't doing the box office that they needed. I don't know. Maybe it caught up and maybe it broke even, but it wasn't a success. Not what they were looking for, anyways.
Just to mention, actually, because it's mentioned in the chat, Jordan's talking about the IMAX ratios, and so is VJM. It's a constant 235. There are no switching variable aspect ratios, which is a shame because we know that quite a bit of this was shot in IMAX. But it's not the end of the world because it still looks and sounds fantastic. So I think when it is constant 235, you don't really miss it. So, but it would be nice, but it's not the end of the world in my view.
So it did, budget was 291 estimated, 291 million. Opening weekend was 54 million. In U.S. and Canada. Gross in U.S. and Canada was 172 million and change. Gross worldwide was over $500 million. So it doubled, almost doubled.
Well, throw advertising in there too, though. They probably spent $100 million on advertising, right?
Yeah, but why does everybody do that? I don't get that. Like, if this was what the budget was, and then isn't the advertising in the budget?
No.
Then how do you know what the budget is?
You don't.
Well, then how do you know that it's double? Anyway. Or how do you know what it is?
Yeah, John, it's a shame we don't have John Thompson in the chat tonight, but the rule of thumb, the metric that as I understand it, is it's got to do 2.5 times its budget to turn a profit. Because it is advertising, it is print, distribution, it's all this stuff. Oh, John is in. Sorry, hiya, John. Sorry, mate. Well, maybe you can help us, John. In that case, sorry, John is in. John, 2.5 times its budget. Is that how you break even? Is that right, or is that nonsense? Help us out. Oh, just got in.
Got in. Yeah,
yeah. Put him on the spot. Yes, we're just trying to work out whether a movie does have to make 2.5 times its budget to break even and make money on that or not. That's what I had been told, but that I don't know.
I've always heard similar, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Right, sort of, yes, but that's to make a profit on it. So it's like but that means everything's paid for. And this is all extra. So like when like Endgame does $1 billion, but it cost them $250 million to make, they profited. I'm just throwing out a number there, right?
Yeah.
They profited $500 million. So the movie's paid for. So now, Dead Reckoning is paid for because it made almost double, almost double.
Right, but
Pretty
if it has to
close.
do 2.5 times, it didn't
to
do
break
that.
even.
Well, we don't know what that number is. That's what I'm
break
saying.
even.
To break even. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, and if that was a dead on number, none of these movies would be making money. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm like 2.5 times is like, it's the budget was 291, and how much of their budget went into advertising? Because I think this was another one that was hurt by everybody being on strike. So there wasn't a lot of advertising that went into it. So maybe they saved on the budget. You don't know. All you can go by are the numbers that we see published, and we all speculate everything else. But then when somebody tries to tell you, oh, these numbers look good. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to make up some here and make it seem like it might be worse. I'm like, Yeah, you try to break even on theatrical. So everything else is profit, is jam.
Oh, so 2.5 times is the US box office. Right. Oh, okay. So, goodness me. All right.
So for 2.5 times is the U.S. box office what?
It's what the U.S. box office has to do.
Yeah, so the U.S. has to do 2.5 times its budget to break even.
Which would be
that's worldwide,
$600
isn't it?
million.
That doesn't make sense. I don't know how that works.
I don't know.
I'm sensing another takeover Tuesday.
Is it money and money? Is it money?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, but either way, it was seen as a disappointment box office wise.
Right.
I mean, that's no reflection on the quality of the film. It never is.
Right.
And so, it was seen, and I certainly remember people saying, and there were some eyebrows raised at how little it had made, and the effect then on Dead Reckoning Part 2, which of course they're shooting as we speak.
Right.
So John says, so international doesn't work out. The deals are more complex. Okay, wow. So it might. Okay, so wow. So US has got to be 2.5 times domestic, then the international stuff on top. Wow.
Yeah. Right.
What was the last movie that made 2.5 times? What movie makes 2.5 times their budget just in the
Cocaine
US? No.
Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
It made 9 times its budget. Evil Dead Rise made 9 times.
Horror movies are the most profitable
US?
movies.
US?
Yeah.
Well, horror
in
movies
total.
are generally the most profitable movies in general.
Because they're cheap. Yeah, they don't cost a lot to make. Do they?
Well, yeah, because you're starting off so low and you're getting, But of these blockbusters, so like for all intents and purposes, none of the blockbusters are making their money back?
Well, a lot of them aren't. There was so many big movies this year that did not make their money back. You have this one. You had Indiana Jones. You had The Marvels. You had Blue Beetle. You had Shazam 2. None of these movies made their money this year.
Yeah,
and they were all good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So John's saying you can see why so many studios are in trouble. I mean, yes, I have heard from someone that Disney, it's their parks that are keeping them going.
Yeah, Disney's not doing
saying who
great.
that's from, but that's, so this is the thing. So it's not, you hear these gigantic, I was going to say Titanic numbers. You hear these gigantic numbers and, you think, wow, it's a money spinner. But then I suppose if you then look at the cold, hard maths of it and the finances of it, suddenly it's all relative. It's great. You earn $750 million, and you haven't spent it. Yay. But if you spent, $1 billion in total and you're only earning $750 million, you've just lost all that money. Not that I'm suggesting that's how much they spent on this. But that, that's the problem, isn't it? Of course, that's the other one. Five Nights at Freddy's made an absolute mint because it was very, very cheap.
Right.
Yeah, that's the other one. It's that's one of the year's standouts. So there we go. But there it is. But anyway, good film, good disc. Buy it. They need the money, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need the jam.
Yes.
They haven't made jam yet.
Yep.
So.
All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, here we go. This is an oldie but goodie. I can't wait.
John,
to hear about this.
Not trample on my dreams.
DJ already did. Here we go.
So this is the 80s classic, The Goonies.
man.
I think I'm the last person in the world to see this movie.
Have you not seen it?
I've never seen it. No, never seen it.
Oh.
So I picked up the disc a little while back. So this was the 4K disc, Dolby Atmos.
Are you with me and Paul?
I don't know where you and Paul are, but I'll set Steve at ease. I had a blast with this movie. I really liked it.
You're not with me and Paul.
No. I like this movie a lot. I mean, it is 80s cheese, but, as opposed to like what was the last one that I didn't really care for too much? Gremlins. I didn't think the Gremlins held up. I thought this was a lot of fun. And I thought for a movie of its age, I was surprisingly pleased with the Atmos track here. Like, I thought this sounded pretty good. There was a lot of engagement on all of my speakers, especially when they're in the caves and there's just noise there's noise all around. There's cave sounds and water drips and all kinds of stuff. And that, again, it's not up to today's standards, Atmos track, but for a movie of this age, I thought it was pretty good. Picture was fine. Like, it didn't blow me away. Like, I didn't think it was anything to write home about. And having never seen this before, I don't have anything to compare it to, but I can't imagine that it's looked any better than it does here. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. It's dirt cheap now. This disc is like $9.99 most places. If you don't have it or you haven't seen it, I mean, it is what it is. Go into it knowing that it's an 80s kids movie, but I thought it was fun. So I thought, DJ, I'm surprised. I thought you liked this movie. So no,
I thought the Atmos was okay. I thought the picture was okay, like you said. The movie, I did a whole, this was back when I was by myself, and I did a whole episode on it, and I was like,
I didn't listen to you, so.
I know.
I don't know.
Why would you?
I talk to you enough in real life. I don't listen to you on tape.
Did you see it on its release, though, Deej? Did you see this
No.
when it came out?
No.
So when you did your show, was that the first watch of it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You'd never seen it either?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And that's why I had to chalk it up to that, because what's that?
How did it pass you both by in 86?
I don't know.
I think when this came out, we were a little too old.
Freshman, high school? Yeah. Maybe sophomores.
Too cool for school.
Yeah, we were
maybe.
right at that age where we're like, Goonies. This was more for little kids to see and look up to the older kids in the movie. When you're the same age or a little older than these kids, you're like, they're acting like little kids. I'm so close to getting my license. I'm not like them. We were too, and then by the time we got out of school and maybe into it, we had better things to watch other than this.
There's a whole slew of these movies that I didn't see. Like, I've never seen Stand By Me. Like, there's a bunch of movies that came out in this era that I've never
Sandlot.
seen.
Saw that.
I just saw The Sandlot like 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
I had never seen that either. So,
Stand By Me is a classic, though.
I know. I know. I just haven't seen it. I haven't watched it.
So that'll have you rolling a tear at the end, or at least it should.
Yeah.
It is. That is a seminal classic, John. That's your next.
Stand By Me.
I'll definitely, I'll get to it for sure. I'm trying to get these movies off of my list. I've got like a kind of mental list of movies that I should have seen that I haven't, and this is definitely, this was on there, and that is as well. Yeah. So,
well, in that case, then, can I, as a Goonies super fan,
oh boy,
enlighten us.
No, you can't. No,
yes, you can. Okay, so this is up there with Gremlins, Inner Space, absolute stone cold. He's gone. We've lost him. That's okay. You leave me to it, guys. This is an absolute fantastic movie.
I can take a break. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. I love this movie, and I have seen it again more times than is natural. It is utterly awesome and beyond reproach. But then I saw it on release Saw it many, many times. I've had it on video and DVD and Blu-ray and now 4K. I've had the 4K disc since it came out. I love every frame of this movie. But to be fair, Deej, you hit the nail on the head. I think when I first saw this, so 85, so I would have been 10. So I would have been, and 11 actually, looking up to those older kids. I was in a group of kids who would get into, adventures and mischief and stuff. We were the Goonies, the friends that I had. And so, excuse me. So I think it spoke to me when it came out. And as I've aged over the years, it still has not, I've still stayed that little kid inside. When I see the film, it just transports me back to it. I absolutely love it. And there's lots and lots of behind the scenes intrigue and unusual things. Like at the end when Chunk says, they ask him, what was your favorite bit? And he says, I thought the giant octopus was best. And when that came out, everyone's like, giant octopus? What do you mean? Is he just telling another lie? But there was an octopus sequence, which was shot and filmed and cut out. And they never took that line out. The end, and the extra features on. I think it's on the 4K disc. You actually see this sequence, and I mean, it's awesome. The film is great, and for those of us that experienced it at the time, and it is, as I said, a seminal classic for me with Gremlins and even Back to the Future, and all those movies in space, all those films at about this time that came out that are seminal classics.
Yeah, and that's what I think I said when I did my review. I was like, I had no nostalgia for it.
Yeah,
so,
which is fair.
Which is, and that's great. John liked it because it sounds like John just filled in the nostalgia of being that age and stuff, where I was just like, eh. I mean, and like you said, like Back to the Future was great. But at that time, we were old enough that now you're looking up to Michael J. Fox, get into the cars. Like, I wanted that Toyota pickup truck. That was what it was like. Imagine being able to go back to the future. Imagine having a friend like Doc Brown, right? Or then look at War Games. That's another one where you looked up, you're like, oh no. Or Ferris Bueller. That was more of our age at that time. We weren't looking back at the Goonies. So it kind of just passed by us. And then it took us till now to catch up on 4K.
Look, Ferris is fantastic as well.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt about that. I've got the 4K disc. I haven't watched it yet. That I do need to get back to.
Same here. So.
Yeah. Eddie says, Steve talking about the Goonies. Yes, Eddie. Oh, yes. yes. Yeah. And thrice more. Yes.
Yeah. That's so great.
It is one of those movies, I kid you not, where I could quote the entire film. Scene changes, dialogue, you name it, probably backwards. I haven't tried it, but I think I probably could.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know when I watch it again. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. But I don't know, like, this isn't going to be something I pull out every year and rewatch. Like,
right.
I don't know when I get back to it. But like I said, I had a good time with it. So
yeah. Whereas I'm looking forward to
wouldn't have done
to
I wouldn't have done a whole. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, D. Sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done a whole show on it if I hated it. But I was so excited to get it and really like enjoy it because I'd heard all these great things. And I think I was just like, as John and I used to say on there, I was just whelmed. It's like, okay.
Maybe I had no expectations, right? Like
yeah. And I was knee deep in the Atmos analyzation of it, or if that's even a term. I'm like, because that gutter scene where I'm like, the water's draining on the right side of the room, but you hear it on the left, or vice versa, whatever. I'm like, wait a minute, it's over there. What are they doing? But glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it, John.
I had fun with it.
Of course, Chunk is now a famous Hollywood lawyer, so we like him already.
Oh, really?
And he doesn't look anything like he used to look either. You would not recognize him now at all. He's like Jerry O'Connell, well, in Stand By Me. When they look one thing when they're kids and when they're adults, they look completely
Jerry
different.
O'Connell is a completely different dude.
Yeah, absolutely. But there we go. Such a good film.
All right. This one's a little different. You ready, Steve? Here we go.
Yeehaw. Okay, so this is the Magnificent Seven, not the 60s one. All right, I'm sure most people will say that's what it should be. This is the 2016 Denzel Washington, Antoine Fuqua directed movie, and we're reviewing these slightly out of order because I watched this because I watched another Denzel Washington, Antoine Fuqua movie the night before. And then having watched that, which we'll talk about in a minute. You're right. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But having watched that, I then thought I'd revisit this on 4K disc in Dolby Atmos. Have you guys seen this?
I have, but I haven't. I don't remember a bunch of it because I've only seen it once.
Okay. I'm surprised, Deej, you haven't seen this.
Yeah.
You've got Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt. You've got, it's an all-star cast.
I remember
Ethan
enjoying
Hawke.
it.
Yeah. I mean, it's no one's going to sensibly say that it's better than the original. You're not about to say Yul Brynner and all the rest of it, and Lee Marvin and all the rest of them are not, we're not better than this. They are and they were. However, this for a modern remake retelling is really good fun. It's inoffensive. It's kind of throwaway, disposable stuff, but it's good. And it's a Sony disc, people. So, of course, it looks fantastic. It sounds incredible. And so when you get the gunfights, you get the explosions, you get all the dynamite and everything else going off, the room comes alive. So you get all the beautiful Western vistas and all the rest of it. And then the audio comes with it. So it's great. It's not up there with Tombstone or any of the really good modern classics. It's never going to trouble those. But as slick, glossy remakes go, you could do a lot worse than this. It'll be dirt cheap on Kaleidescape, Deej. I'm sure it's cheap on Amazon and well worth picking up. Well, it's okay, not too bad. How was it on Kaleidescape, Deej? Were you just looking?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I had another issue going on, but I will.
Yeah,
it is worth picking up if you haven't seen it, Deej. I think you'd enjoy it for what it is. Again, slick, glossy remake, but great fun. And it's well told and it's a good story and it's been directed well. So I really had a good time revisiting this. It's about the third time I think I've seen it, and it's great. So well worth seeing.
$29.99 4K HDR.
Eek.
Yeah,
that's. Yeah, that is a lot, isn't it? Sony movies aren't normally that expensive, are they? Or on Kaleidescape?
4K HDR. Is it new? That is pretty expensive.
2016 movie. It's been out on 4K
HDR?
since. Yeah. It came out in 2016, the film and the disc. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Magnificent 7, 4K HDR.
and it's
Dolby
not. And again, it's
Atmos.
not the original.
$29.99. Nope, not the original. Nope. Washington,
Wow,
Pratt,
get
Hawk.
the disc. That's it. Get the disc, guys. Get the
The
disc.
disc is $14.
Yeah. So Jordan says I still like the Magnificent 7 remake. It is good. Carl. Yeah. Sorry, Carl. You're out of luck there, buddy. $9.99 on sale. I'm sure. Nope.
No.
You need to add a 2. in
I
front of that.
mean, the funny thing, I might even have the disc. I'll have to look. It's like
if it came out, you should have it.
Yeah, and it's a big
Right,
release.
I mean,
It was a
The
big
criteria
cool.
is that it was released. And so
if it was pressed, I own it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You should check that. Actually, in fairness,
might
you really
check.
should check.
Yeah, and throw the Blu-ray in and see if I can get the discount. Because sometimes they'll have that. I don't know why it's $29. Well, I do know why. It's a good movie, and they're not going to charge you less on that system.
Yeah, it'll be a
that's
movie
weird.
that you'll be telling people about afterwards. If nothing else, from the HT perspective.
Oh, yeah.
You'll love how it looks and sounds.
But it is one that I've wanted to get to, and it's always I'll watch that, and then something else will pop up, right? You're like, oh yeah, so
yeah, no, it's good.
Whatever.
It is really well done.
Cool.
I mean, Fuqua and Washington don't normally put a foot wrong. I mean, obviously, Training Day, the Equalizer movies, these guys know how to make a solid film, and that this is definitely one of those.
Later, Steve.
Yeah,
Steve at the chat.
Oh,
Got to run. Enjoy the show. Happy holidays.
I
Happy
thought you were
holidays,
kicking
Steve.
him off the show.
I was going to say, yeah, man,
Steve's
what do I
last
do?
one. Gotta go. Yeah.
So good on you. Steve Ad, no longer in the chat.
Yeah.
Yep. No. Yeah. There you go. All right. Good on that one. This one I didn't even hear about this one. So really interested to hear what you have to say about this, and if it's something I should
this me?
get it. Yes, it is.
Is this mine? So I'm assuming. I can't see it, but I'm assuming it's the Netflix series, and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing this correctly. Yu Hakusho. This is based on a Japanese anime manga series, and I think it's pretty new on Netflix. There's only 5 episodes here, and I haven't looked, but I'm betting that this is a split season because I can't imagine they only dropped 5 episodes. They're probably going to come back later on with the rest of this. So starting with the show itself, I just watched episode 2 right before we started recording. For me, the jury's still out. I'm not quite sure how I feel about the show yet. I'm not familiar with the anime at all, but what drew me to this show was the number of people talking about how faithful this was to the source material. So for those that are fans and that are in the know, apparently they did a really, really good job with that. I'm going to give it at least one more episode before I decide ultimately if I'm going to keep going with it. All that being said, the home theater part of this is very nice. Again, this is Netflix. They've had a pretty good record lately of quality. I will say that, like some, I think it was All's Quiet on the Western Front, this only has a Dolby Atmos track if you watch it in the original Japanese dialogue, which Netflix does not default to. If you see my image there, it only shows 5.1. And when I turned it on, it was immediately in the English audio. So I had to go and fumble around. Well, not fumble around, but fix the settings on that to get it into Japanese. And it did have Dolby Atmos. So you will have to watch subtitles and, all of that if you want Atmos. And this is as you could probably tell by the picture, this is a fantasy anime style world. So it's a bit cartoony, even though it's live action, but that lends itself to some great image quality because it's very colorful. There's a lot of good imagery so far in the first 2 episodes. So I say give it a shot if you're at all interested in anime or shows like this, and see what you think of it. But like I said, I guess I'll know better next time we record whether I finished it or not. But I kind of felt the same way about One Piece after the first couple of episodes, and I stuck with that and ended up really enjoying it. So I'm thinking that I'm hoping that the same happens here. But the quality, like I said, the quality is really, really nice. So maybe check it out just for that.
It looks a bit Stranger Things from that picture. Is that like
a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. I don't want to I don't want to give too much away, but essentially, it's demons, underworld creatures that are coming into the world, and you've got a group that has to try to stop that from happening. Like I said, check it out if you like this type of content, and let me know what you think because I'm not sure, but I'm not sure yet. I'm just being real.
John's using the show in the reverse direction.
Yeah.
People come to us. Yeah, exactly. Can you let me know if I should keep going on this?
Let me know.
All right, who's up next?
By the time I hear from anybody, I'll have decided, but I'm just curious.
No, I know.
I'm curious what other people think of it, and if you're familiar with it, did they do a good job with it? So,
all right, cool. All right. This one here. Well, Steve, you start, and then I'll ask my questions because this is one that you watched, and here we go.
Okay, so this is, and please do not let anyone think that I am being rude. It's called Fatman. And this is a very strange film.
Yeah.
And this
I
is
don't even know what this is.
This is my holiday movie for the week. Yeah.
Did I talk about this?
Yes, you mentioned it to me, but we didn't then do it on the show. You mentioned it, I think, off air and said you should see it, and you said it's weird, and I thought, okay,
it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
go because
what's
as
unusual
people
about
see,
this is
I just put.
Sorry, did you go on?
I put the image up to like I watched it too, but I watched it a couple weeks ago, and I think we moved. I couldn't remember if I actually had to go back to our show notes. I'm like, did I talk about this? So he watched. I couldn't remember.
No, I don't think you did because I didn't know anything about this movie.
Yeah, you mentioned it to me because otherwise, and I think I said, "Oh well, I'll watch it then for next week's show." So I think we said it off air. I think. I'm not sure. But it's definitely because you mentioned it. So now what's unusual about this, before we talk about the movie, is that I watched this on Amazon Prime via the FreeVee service. Now, I don't know if you guys have that in the States.
We do.
Okay, so it's the movie with adverts, but you see it for free.
What fun is that? I could get Bloodshot there, but it's free. Well, I got to buy it. I need to pay for it to keep my record going.
Yeah, well, indeed. Well, I was very wary of this, and I thought, well, if I can see it for free, even with adverts, I'll give it a go. I've never used the FreeVee service before. I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I mean, and the ads are massively annoying, by the way, and I won't be watching anything else like this because it's like every 15 minutes there are just stupid ads, and then it goes
like
back
3-minute block of ads.
Yeah, well, quite, and because it's not been shot that way, of course, it just stops in the middle of an action scene and then goes right back to it. You know, like, that's weird. So yeah, I don't recommend FreeVee, guys. If you want to see this movie after we've talked about it, buy it. It is available on Blu-ray, or pay for a rental. You know, do that. So okay, so the film, really weird. It's like a proto Violent Night. In as much as you have Mel Gibson, in this case, playing a worn and world-weary Santa who is past his prime and is not enjoying life and is struggling to make ends meet. Told you it was weird. And he doesn't live in the North Pole. He lives in North Peak, Alaska, I think it is, and is struggling. And is can't make ends meet, and is approached by the U.S. military, who ask him and his elves to make munitions for them.
Oh, jeez.
And whilst all this is going on, there is a hitman played by Walt Goggins, who, for reasons that are never properly really gone into, is a Santa toy collector and also bears a grudge against Santa, and is hired by someone to kill Santa. And that's basically the setup. That's kind of the story, and it doesn't really change.
Right.
And it's very, very odd. It kind of goes nowhere. It's a very strange film. And I have to admit, at the end of it, I was very glad it was over. And I don't think I'll ever see this film again. And I personally wouldn't buy it because I just thought, is that it? So that's the setup anyway. Now, the video quality, it was actually in 1080p. I'd say FreeVee, but it's in 1080p. It's 5.1 DTS HDMA is what came up on my receiver. It looked okay, sounded okay. There is detail in the image. There is some gunshots and gunfights, and there's a little bit of surround activity. It's all right. There's a few explosions here and there. There's a big gunfight in a particular place. And so it's passable. It's all right. But the problem with this is the movie. And as I said, a very, very odd film. And not one that, as I said, I would recommend revisiting, even for Mel Gibson. I mean, he does, I suppose, again, I'm not going to give away the ending, but there is a little monologue that he gives at the end towards a particular character, which is classic Mel. All right, he's almost channeling Martin Riggs, I would say, actually. Yeah. And he does a nice little monologue, which is quite good. But that's about the only highlight of like a nearly 2-hour film is this, 2-minute monologue, and the rest of it's all a bit crap. So yeah, not up there, not high on my list. If you're curious based on what I've said, then rent it, I would say. But you can buy it. It is out on Blu-ray, and but just caveat emptor, buyer beware. So what did you think, Deej? I know a bit about what you said about it because we talked, but yeah, what did you think about it?
Yeah, and I said I'm not that far off from you. I had fun with it, and I thought I thought the acting, other than Mel Gibson, was like really like stiff, right? Yeah. Like you said, the kid that we're talking about, that's a main character. You're like, what the heck? And I mean, even and I love him too. Like Walton, it's not Walter,
Goggins?
is it?
It's Walton.
Yeah. Walton Goggins.
Yeah,
right?
I love him.
I love him, but even his character, like his acting in this, I thought was it was, I don't want to say bad, but it was weird, right, Steve? Like it's almost like he knew he was in this movie and like needed the paycheck and like, all right, I'll just sleepwalk through this because I love him. I think he's great. But I thought Mel, I thought was like, he was really good. I thought his acting was, really like he acted this thing out. And it was, and you're like, really, you're putting like Shakespearean effort into this movie because it is. It's like, it's weird. It's so bad, but it was fun.
Yeah, in another world, in another universe, in an alternate dimension, this is a Tarantino film. Which needed another couple of passes at the script. This is, and I think that's what it wants to be. I think if you ask the director,
that's a good call.
This is what we, check us out. Look at what we're doing. But in this dimension and in this universe, it's just odd and weird and poorly paced and strangely set up, and the quirkiness isn't interesting. It's not fun quirk. It's just bizarre quirk that doesn't
like
take
why did they make this movie? But but I think that part of that is in the speech, and Eddie saying in the chat, he's like, is that Rob Schneider in the background of the image you have up on YouTube? And I'm like, no, that's Walton Goggins. It's but it's I get, like, they went and that's what kind of was fun to me, is like, obviously, look at me, I love Christmas, I love Santa Claus, they went to an exact extreme to like kind of make a message of something that's going on with Christmas, like it's getting too crazy or whatever. So they went to that extreme, and that's fun. And that, to me, it's like, no, I honestly, I had fun with it, but I can't recommend this movie. I'm like, I can't, because most people, and I think I said that to you, Steve, right? I'm like, most people aren't going to like this thing. I'm like, but I had fun with it. And if, like you said, if you can rent it or if it's playing somewhere, but this, was this 20? Where is I got the number here, 2013 or something? Oh, no, 2020. So it came out. It was out before, Violent Night, but it's kind of along that line in that, like, all right, we're going to take Santa and we're going to make him violent. It's just such a weird story. Like, how do you sit down to write this story?
And I think as well, I don't know how you felt with that, DJ. I mean, bear in mind, I don't really have any skin in the game, but like, I think if you're a veteran or you are in the services, I think there are sequences in this that would make you angry because it's kind of throwaway violence for the sake, and I found that a bit distasteful, only a little bit, but enough to think that I think if I were a veteran or if I was in the services, I'd find that unpleasant. Kind of how it's just. I don't want to give it away like to anyone watching, but I just think it treats them like it's nothing. I don't know.
I have friends my dad's a veteran. I have friends that are veterans. I'm not a veteran. But I think it would be safe to say that if you're a veteran, anybody I know that's a veteran would be like, I don't care what they do in a movie like this. I'm not. Who's taking this seriously? If you're basing your idea of a veteran on this movie, then I think even the veteran would be like, seriously, you got to get a new head on your shoulders. So it's like, why would you get? I'm like, and I know that. I know my dad would say that. Like, have at it. This is ridiculous.
Casual to me. It was a little bit too. And again, I don't want to give it away, but the way in which they deal with the military and one character deals with them just felt too frivolous to me. It was all a bit throwaway and a bit unnecessary. But again, in a film I wasn't particularly enjoying anyway. And
the whole idea of the military hiring Santa didn't, you were okay with that?
Well, it's like, not quite.
It's all ridiculous. Like, your elves are really productive. Can we get you to do this for us? And they lost you at how they treated the military?
Well,
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, the entire thing is ridiculous. But if you're desperate for a new holiday classic action movie, and this is sitting there for free with no commercials, because I wouldn't even pay for the commercials. I wouldn't even sit through the commercials for this. But I'll probably watch it again just for fun a couple of years from now. I own it. I bought it. I don't remember what I paid, and I can't look. I'd have to sign out of my account and see what.
Here's a question for you then, Deej.
I think it was $9.99, to be honest.
Right, here's your question then. Let's see, John. Let's see what he does. Right, so Deej. Okay, so something happens to the Kaleidescape, right? I mean, it wouldn't happen, but let's just go with me here. And you've got Evil Dead Rise, and you've got Fatman, and you can only watch one of those. Which one are you going for to watch again?
Oh, Fatman all day long.
Oh, man. I knew that was going to be the answer, but it's
Well,
the
how
wrong
do you
answer.
not? I actually, like I said, I had fun with it.
Yeah, he actually
Evil
liked
Dead
this
Rise.
movie.
I didn't say I hated this, and I don't even hate Evil Dead Rise. I'm just like, okay.
By the way,
But
I did
this I
listen
actually
to-
have fun with. It was funny. There's times it's so bad you're laughing at it, which is hysterical, right? Yeah, it's. I mean,
I did love your reaction to Ralph mentioning. Have you heard of Evil Dead Rise? Your reaction to that, DJ, the takeover.
oh yeah, when
Tuesday
I was on with
fantastic.
Ralph last week.
Yeah. Oh,
I was
God. laughing my head off.
Oh yeah, that was great. I was like, and he was so serious because obviously he doesn't listen, so that's fine. I
No,
don't
tell me
expect-
about it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, here we go.
I see it.
Oh God. So, all right, let's see. What do we have next? All right, another holiday classic, John.
I see.
Here we go. Oh, this one you see.
No, I said I see on the list.
Oh, okay, yeah. Die Hard 2, Die Harder, the holiday classic.
Christmas harder.
Yeah, exactly. So I had actually, this was supposed to be in last week's show. I watched it a couple weeks ago. I think I've done a whole episode on it. I'll be very quick. I mean, I love it. I've seen a lot of comments on social media. This is the best Die Hard sequel. I've heard people saying another great holiday classic and stuff like that. But this is actually on Kaleidescape. This is in 4K. And I think it's the only place it is in 4K. I don't know if I know it's not in this in the US. It's not in 4K. I don't know if it's in 4K over there, Steve. But image
on Disney Plus.
really good. What's that?
I'd heard something that it might be on Disney Plus in 4K over here. Let me. I'll have a look. You keep
That's not
talking. Sorry, I'll have a
4K.
look.
That's not physical 4K. It's like that's because actually no, it is in 4K over here on streaming. Because when I did this as a standalone, I compared the Blu-ray to the 4K stream, and it's comparable. It's very comparable, but the audio, and I remember saying back then that I thought the 4K stream was slightly better than the Blu-ray, but the sound was so poor, I would never choose that over the physical Blu-ray. But now in 4K, and I think I did that, and then Brett was still at Kaleidescape at the time, and I think I had done this the week before, and it was a year I had Brett Bjorkquist on it in a December, right? And I didn't have my Kaleidescape yet, and Brett goes, "Kaleidescape has it in 4K." I was like, "You're killing me."
Where do I sign?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it is. I mean, it looks great. It sounds great. The scenes in the tower, and in the airport, and the color, the lights, the colors. I mean, really, just go to what I've already said. It's like even in the church, and they've taken over that church, and the bad guys. Spoilers, everybody. In the lights that they have at the computer desks, and the HDR, it just looks so good. It really does. But to be fair, I thought the Blu-ray looked really good too. And this is another one I'll go back almost pretty much every year, just like I did with Batman Returns. They're just fun holiday movies, just to sit down, you watch them every now and then, every once a year or whatever. A good action movie, just the facts, ma'am. You laugh every time. It's like cute, fun stuff. So yeah,
Which famously Bruce Willis did not want to say, and he refused to say it initially, and they had to do a lot of coaxing to get him to do it, to even say it. He thought it was silly. And so I just had a book on this recently, or read a book on it recently. And Rennie Harlan eventually said, "Look, just say it once. We won't use it, but just say it. And we'll use one of the other lines that you ad-libbed." And then having said it, of course, he was like, "I'm only ever going to use that line." And so they dropped it in. But Willis hates that line.
yeah.
I think it's one of the best lines in the movie.
Yeah, it's a reference to what you call it.
Dragnet.
Dragnet. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but in a play on technology, which has now been outdated. Because kids hearing that now go, what the hell's that? What's the facts? I'm with Joe Hetzel here. My favorite sequel is Die Hard with a Vengeance. Joe saying in the chat, have a soft spot for Die Hard with a Vengeance. That's my favorite sequel. I just between Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson and that whole dichotomy all the way through that movie. I just think that is my favorite sequel of the Die Hard series. Die Hard's my favorite, but of the sequels, right?
I think I'd go in order of the numbers. I'd think 1, 2,
really?
3. Yeah, but 2 and 3 are very close. They're really close to one another. And in fairness, I probably quite Die Hard with a Vengeance much more often. But they're about the same. But they are good. Oh, and the water thing, by the way, makes no sense. The water, the water trap thing in the third one where they work out what water they've got.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but they don't actually solve it. One of them just goes, oh, well, we know we've got this in that. And then they do it. They don't actually solve the puzzle. They just come up with it. Oh, yeah, we know we've got that without actually talking through it. If you watch it back again, they don't
show their work? Okay,
no.
teacher.
One of them just goes, well, we know we've got 2 liters in this one. And you're like, well, how do you know you've got 2 liters in that? And they don't actually solve it. They just cut round it. So, you watch it again.
All right. Here we go, John. Stephen, we got to show our work.
Yeah.
It's a movie. And one, that is an actual thing you can do. They just didn't show their work. But it is actual. I mean, that is it's so great. How was their accent?
Well, and I mean, Spain's never looked better.
From the streets of New York? Okay.
Yeah, well.
But see, that's like you said, if you go 1, 2, 3, it's like I felt like 2 was just a direct copy of 1, only in an airport. And I felt like what I really liked about 3 was that it was the first diversion from that format. And then they added some backstory to the entire thing and everything. That's what I kind of like. That's why I kind of leaned to Vengeance.
But
I haven't seen that in a while.
It was all cobbled together, though. Of course, it was not a Die Hard film. It was a script called Simon Says, and they
really?
thought, let's make this Die Hard, and that's why they tack on the ending.
Oh, nice!
And they changed the thing. It was a separate script which was floating around, and they thought, well, we'll just repurpose this into Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah. Nice.
There we go.
All right. All right. Quick on that one. Now we'll wrap up with our finale. One of us has seen it this week, but I think we've all seen this holiday classic, so we can all talk about this. Another fantastic holiday classic. Put your hands together for
Lethal Weapon. Yeah. Now
that's it. Not 1, 2, not 2. Just Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. But this is Lethal Weapon 1, only on 1080p Blu-ray. And in DTS HD 5.1 Master Audio. I've had the Blu-ray box set of this for years, since its release, God knows how many years ago. And I've never got round to rewatching them. I've seen all the movies many, 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 many times. I actually really like the DVDs because they had the director's cut extra footage inserted into them. So I bought the set and never watched the Blu-rays. So this was my first watch of the first one on Blu-ray. Unfortunately, the extra scenes are not in this. They're on the disc, but are separate deleted scenes, which is bloody annoying when you've seen them in the movie itself, including from the same studio. So that was irritating. But there it is. It's still a great film. Of course, it's a good film. We all know it's a good film. There's nothing I'm going to say will change that, and neither should it. The Blu-ray's not great, though, unfortunately, because I remember, Deej, you said that the Kaleidescape version was pretty decent in terms of video and audio, but the video on this is disappointing. It's very soft. The colors are all over the place. The flesh tones are really weird on this. One daylight sequence, they look kind of natural. The next, they look all brushed and orange and weird, and it's all over the place. And so I was really disappointed. There's lots of black crush on the nighttime scenes. It's not a good transfer, and I'm hoping, and Jordan's saying in the chat, crazy that these aren't on 4K disc yet. Judging by the first one only, these are crying out for a proper, back to the original camera negative 4K remaster, because the Blu-rays are poor, at least of the first one. Audio's not bad, but not brilliant. There is some surround stuff. You get some rumbles in the bass when what's her face? The house blows up. That one, that's Dixie. When Dixie's house explodes, that you get some rumble in the bass, and there's some surround stuff then. You've got the helicopters moving around, that kind of stuff. But otherwise, the gunshots are quite anemic. Even when they're firing big automatic weapons, it doesn't sound that great. It's all very dated. And so I was disappointed with this. The presentation, enjoyed the film, but was disappointed. And I remember DJ talking about, again, the ending, obviously the fight on the lawn. That's just a murky mess on the Blu-ray. It does not stand out. It doesn't look that great. And okay, perhaps some bias here because I've just watched a number of digitally shot 4K movies. So fine. I appreciate my eyes may need to have adjusted, but I was disappointed with this, and I'm hoping they will do a 4K version. I mean, of course, they've been trying to get Lethal Weapon 5 off the ground for about the last 5 years, and I suspect they're holding on to the 4K box set to do them all in one. I don't know that for sure, but I suspect they are, because otherwise this would have been out by now. And if they do reissue them in 4K, I will pick them up because I love the movies. All 4 of them are all good movies, but the Blu-ray set leaves a bit to be desired, unfortunately. But there we go. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I felt that, like, when I watched it on the Kaleidescape it was last year. I haven't watched it yet this year.
Oh, okay.
I do remember thinking,
yeah.
no, not the whole thing. I did do the beginning of it because we were talking about it. We're somewhere I was open because of the opening scene and stuff.
Yeah.
But I know the end scene and stuff. I remember thinking, like, wow, that looks really, really good. Again, not sure. Could that be the Lumigen cleaning it up a little bit or some, but you're only as good as your source. And my question was that, like, when Jordan's saying that in the chat, it's like I was already going to say, and I had started Jordan's comment that are crazy they don't have a 4K version of this. Now that we've got all the Cameron stuff, which is coming in March, but it is out, we're getting it, right? Is this the next one? Is this one of the next hot ones where people ask, like, what don't we have yet that we need to get? And it was always like The Abyss was there, right? And then True Lies would follow suit, and then Aliens. Is this one of those in that list now? Does this rise to, like, maybe one of the next top 3 or 4 that we need in 4K? Because it really does need it. And do they clean up some of those flaws from? I mean, this was what, 84, 87, really. Because I remember Lethal Weapon 2, another one of my favorites. This is 1 and 2. These are very, very strong movies. They kind of drop off after that, but they're still highly entertaining, right? Because of the comedy level of them, because, the buddy cop film, but then they keep adding to it as you go through. But I felt like this was a good setup, learning about Martin Riggs, the Lethal Weapon, right? And then there is comedy in there, mostly sarcasm, which is great. I've been over this movie so many times. And, I remember going back and watching the scene when he jumps off. I remember on Laserdisc and watching them jump off the top of the building, and you see their hands separate, but they're supposed to be cuffed together. And you're like,
his hands.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, so just, and then, like you said, all the extra features, but it does deserve, and I think, a 4K restoration. And it's like, but I just love this movie every year. So,
well, they're Warner's movies, and Warner's, when they do a new format, tend to have a certain number of movies that they re-release each new format, and it tends to be 300, Blade, and again, Lethal Weapon and Dirty Harry, as Jordan mentions, tend to be within those stable of releases, and so normally by now Warner's would have released these in 4K. Which makes me think they're holding them back because they're hoping for Lethal Weapon 5 and they want to tie them all in. It doesn't explain why no Dirty Harry, unless, of course, it's going to be an Eastwood memorial set. Hope not. Very good, but it does make me wonder. Because normally by now in the format life cycle, they've released it because they did it on DVD, they've done it on Blu-ray, and normally by now they would have done. So, yeah, not sure. Or it might just be that the original source of material is rubbish and the amount of money they'd have to spend to redo it would not make it worthwhile, maybe, because Warner's are in some financial trouble as well. So there might be a bit of that, I don't know. But, I mean, we'd all buy these sets if they came out in 4K. You'd think that it would be worth their while, but yeah, who knows? But so as is a bit disappointing, unfortunately. But never mind. I mean, we know that Warner's can do really good back catalog releases, so we can but hope. But I haven't heard even any whispers that this is coming. The go-to guy for this, of course, is Bill Hunt. Careful how I say that at Digital Bits, because he is the guy who seems to have his sort of ear to the ground with these things coming down the pipe. And I haven't heard a whisper of this. So I suspect it's a long way off yet, which is a shame because they are great movies. I like them all. There's none of them that I dislike.
When was the last time you saw it, John?
Within the last 2 years or so. Lydia and I watched all 4 of them fairly recently. I have the Blu-rays of all 4 of these. It's been long enough that I don't remember all the details about the picture quality. But it hasn't been that, like it says, within the last couple of years. In this house, for sure. So, I mean, we've been here 6 years. So,
yeah, I felt like, it was a little grainy, inconsistent picture, front-heavy sound. It definitely could use, some punch. Some cleaning up, and it seemed like it's not that bad of material that they would. I mean, we've seen stuff like this get cleaned up really nice, so I can't imagine it is not a lot of special effects, right? So it's all just film. If they can do it, they'll do it. So John Thompson saying in the chat that Dirty Harry is coming in the new year. So I don't know what that means, but Dirty Harry coming in the new year.
But I need, you see, with those, I need all of those apart from the last one. We don't need the Deadpool. We don't need that. But the other Dirty Harry films must come out. We can't just have the first one. I want them all, please. More. I mean, I love those films as well. They are fantastic, those movies.
Yep. So, all right.
I think we've got one more, Deej.
Do we?
Yep. The other Antoine Fuqua, Denzel Washington movie that I alluded to earlier.
Oh, hang on. I'll find it.
I'll do it quickly.
I lost it. It's not. I'll find it for you, and I'll pull it up.
We can leave it till next time. It's not time sensitive.
No. Why isn't that in?
There it is. There.
Did you add that to the show?
At the top on your list there. Go up.
Oh yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Right in the middle.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, it looks weird because that's the screen. That's just the title screen.
I'm going to tell you what I said to John. I'm like, you should have told me that in the notes because it going out on Christmas movies in the holiday season. That's why we ended with Lethal Weapon. Now we're ending with a non-Christmas movie.
Well, why don't we leave it? Why don't we leave it till we come back?
I'll tell you why when we're done. Finish.
I tell you what, I get shouted at all the time on this. Yeah.
We practiced. We went over this in rehearsal.
I'll be quick then. So this, so I'm being told, is Equalizer 3.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, I've got a gun to my head. I've got this Bo Peep crook's going to come off the side of the screen and just drag me out. It would be a clappable that just sort of behead me. Right, so Equalizer 3 on 4K UHD disc, Dolby Atmos. Super quick. This is the concluding trilogy of the trilogy, I think. Certainly in terms of continuity, as I understand it, this is going to be the last one. They're on about doing prequels and everything else, but for now, this is the end. This is Robert McCall goes to Italy and decides to have an Italian adventure, which is what happens for reasons that are explained, albeit almost as a throwaway at the end, but they are explained. And it's really good. I enjoyed it much more second time round. I saw it in theaters and enjoyed it, but thought it ended very abruptly. We talked about that, John, didn't we, when we reviewed it? But watching it for a second time knowing what's coming, it's a little less jarring. So that's good news. And I enjoyed it, a lot. It is fun. I think they go in order of the movies. In fact, I think one's very much the best. Second one's probably next, and then the third one close on its heels in terms of how I like them. It's a Sony disc, so once again, you get top-notch video and audio. This makes Italy look, as I'm sure it is in real life, but it makes Italy look beautiful. The cinematography on it's fantastic. The way that every cobbled street, every kind of flaking bit of paint on the buildings, all the scenery around it looks gorgeous. And there's an opening shot across a vineyard that looks three-dimensional. It literally felt like you could reach into the screen. It is beautifully shot. And all the dark stuff, lots of things at night and in dimly lit rooms, all look amazing. There's no black crush. There's no kind of issues with graying out of it. They're all perfectly resolved. The audio is great as well. There's lots of people getting bones broken, gunfights. There's vans used as weapons, and it all sounds appropriately gruesome and gory. And so it's great. Yeah, really, really enjoyed this. And of course, as I think I said at the time, this is an unofficial Man on Fire reunion because you've got Dakota Fanning as one of the agents in it, who of course was the little girl in Man on Fire. So it's really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's well worth picking up when it's at a suitable price. Definitely get it. And John, you'll want to pick it up when it's at in the new year, I'm sure. Because you've got the other two, haven't you? So you're going to want to get this to complete the trilogy.
Yep. Yeah, and I liked it. I actually put it probably second. I liked it a little bit more than two. I agree that one is the best, and it's probably just the setting here, being in Italy for me, that pushes it over the top. But so I go 1, 3, 2.
No, it's good. But it's definitely well worth picking up. So it was good, very good. So worth getting. I'm afraid it's not a holiday movie, Deej. Although there is red in that picture, and there's a bit of white.
I see that.
I see red and green in the background there. So that's
the Italian flag.
That means Christmas.
Exactly. If you throw a snowflake on there, we're good to go. This one, as I've said, I pre-ordered this on Kaleidescape, and I own it, and I'm saving it for my dad. So when we get the theater done, we're going to watch it together, because he loves these movies too, and I was telling him about it. So we're going to watch. This is one of the ones we'll watch when we first. We're kind of roommates. So looking forward to that. So that is the last one. You guys don't know, production meeting we had the other day with the higher ups. I was going to clue you in on what's going on and why we can't push that to the next show. So our next show won't be until January 2nd. So see everybody next year. I will be putting out my Die Hard thing, Christmas special on Christmas Eve, blah, blah, blah. And I'm also doing my Takeover Tuesday next week. So you'll still get to hear my voice, John, whenever you want.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
But
can't wait.
2 weeks from today. Don't take notes on what you're watching, boys. Don't be doing all that. We have 2 weeks. That would be too long of a show, but you know what time it is. You got to start sending me your top picks for the year. So 2 weeks, and the whole show, give me your top. I think we did last year, we did 15, but then we rank our top 10. So we'll have, give me your top 15 home theater experiences from 2023.
Jesus.
And then we're going to rank all of that, and we'll come out with just how we did it last year. Remember, I had the scoring system. I'm using the same scoring system and everything. So we'll come out with that, and we'll talk about that next week. In 2 weeks.
Can I put the same one more than once?
Evil Dead Rise.
John, have you seen my list?
But do you know what that's going to do? It's only going to short all your others.
Yeah.
I'm just
What
kidding.
good is that? It can only be listed once. So what it would be is
remember.
Like when it comes up, it'll be like, so Steve had this ranked 1 through 10. Okay, so that's why it came in 10th, because he actually ranked it 10th too. So it gets a scoring of a 10. I don't think you know how the scoring system works, Steve.
Mass, it's confusing to me. It's like a foreign language.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to cheat the system, but you can't. So,
damn it.
The scoring system to let everybody know it's like golf, and so like if you give it a 1, then it's only going to get a 1 from you. But if I gave it a 10, it's going to get now that's a total of 11. And like it actually worked out pretty good because we were all like right in the ballpark. And if you remember last year, we all came up with Maverick, right? I think that's what was number 1. But it was like
Northman.
Yeah, you and I had the Northman up there. It was pretty close, but it was a good scoring system. So that'll be fun. And I mean, to get through 15 movies or whatever we do, how they fought, it'll be a fun. That's the whole show. Plus, it keeps us from having to save everything we did for the next 2 weeks. So just enjoy the next 2 weeks, but get me your notes and I'll score it all up. So.
And I think unlike last year, where we were all of the same mind, this year I think we might have some disagreements. I think it's going to be quite good fun. Could be quite
think you might be surprised at how close we are. Like, obviously, we're going to differ on Evil Dead Rise, but the cream rises to the top, right? the overall consensus is probably going to be pretty similar.
It's going to be a fun show, that one. A particularly fun show, that one.
That's why we're doing it. We're all about the fun here. At least that's what the higher ups told us to do. So that's what we got to do. So
is that one of the YouTube terms and conditions?
Apparently, I'm trying to. You're killing me. Oh, yeah. So, all right. That will do it. I want to try and close out a little better than I did in the holiday special. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. Steve, John, thank you. I've said to many people on the show, off the air, all my friends, this show wouldn't be going on if it wasn't for you two. So have a great holiday season. Steve, you're next. Do you want to say goodbye to people?
What are you going to do to me? Oh, sorry, right. It's not that. Okay, fine. It was all a bit.
I don't have to bring you back next year.
Do you want to say goodbye to anyone, Steve? any last words? Well,
I was going to say, Steve, your last words. Wait, what?
That was mildly passive aggressive, Deej. I want to, I obviously wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, guys. It's been a great year. Everybody over here, stay safe, enjoy it. If you get arrested, let me know, but try not to.
Steve's doing a commercial.
Advertising. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so, no, everyone have a great Christmas and New Year. And look forward to being back on the 2nd and going through even more exciting home theater stuff.
John, your last words.
I'd say so. I get to go last. Yeah. So what they said, because you guys have all said it, but obviously, thanks for following us all year. Thanks for caring about what we have to say about anything, because who are we?
Exactly.
So thanks for all the support from everybody all year long, and to you two guys. Mary, I'll talk to you outside of this show, but Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope you have a great season. If you don't celebrate anything, have a good meal at least. Do something.
Happy 25th.
Yeah, happy whatever. And we'll see you guys all next year. So.
Yeah, everybody in the chat, everybody listening to the audio only on Fridays, thank you very much. Another great year. As we said at the start of the year, John said a few weeks ago, who knows where this show's going to be, but the evolution of it, all of that is because of you guys. We're driven just to do more and be better because you guys, that's the hobby, right? And that's what we're trying to do. So looking forward to 2024, but thanks to everybody sitting in front of me right now and listening to us. Thank you for a great 2023. So with that, do you guys want let's go out and actually say it instead of me having to play it. So you know what you gotta do.
Go push play.
What he said.
Nice. That was your line.
Hey, Fred. This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.